Sir, the divorce agreement from the safe is here. On their 5th wedding anniversary, in a Western restaurant, the secretary handed the divorce agreement to Su Yuan. 5 years ago, on the day Mr. Xiao and her husband got their marriage certificate, Ms. Xiao, deeply in love with her husband, had prepared a divorce agreement beforehand, signed it, and placed it in the safe. As long as she cheated, her husband could sign for divorce at any time. Su Yuan quickly signed his name. He looked at the empty seat across from him, his expression dim. Take the divorce agreement to Lawyer Li, and then book a hotel and set up the wedding venue in advance. The secretary paused and tentatively asked, which 2 names should be written for the bride and groom? Write Xiao Yi and Cheng Yang's names. The secretary was silent for a few seconds. Cheng Yang was Ms. Zhao's first love, her voice trembling. She continued to ask, Sir, when will the wedding be held? Su Yuan slowly looked out the window. The blue fireworks that had lasted for an hour finally burned out, leaving a line of words in the air. Xiao Yi Su Yuan, happy 5th wedding anniversary. Su Yuan withdrew his gaze, pursing his lips. Hold the wedding in 7 days, and book me a flight ticket to Norway for the same day. Norway? The secretary was taken aback for a few seconds, and hesitated to advise. Sir, would you like to reconsider? Actually, 5 years ago, on the day Mr. Su got his marriage certificate, in addition to Ms. Zhao's voluntarily signed divorce agreement. Mr. Su's parents, who lived in Norway, had added a dowry of 50 million yuan, on the condition that Ms. Xiao signed a prenuptial agreement. If Mr. Su were to be hurt by the marriage and return to Norway alone, Ms. Xiao would never be allowed to set foot in Norway for the rest of her life. By then, Ms. Xiao wouldn't even have the chance to seek reconciliation. No need to reconsider. Su Yuan shook his head. 7 days later would be his birthday. He would leave Xiao Yi and fly to Norway, and at the same time, have a wedding held for her and Cheng Yang to fulfill their relationship. After the secretary left, Su Yuan's phone suddenly vibrated. A message popped up. It was Xiao Yi, using the company's Weibo account, ostentatiously posting a photo of the blue fireworks blooming, and tagging him. Husband, happy 5th wedding anniversary, love you forever. As soon as this Weibo was posted, in less than a minute, the number of comments reached over 999. So envious. I was wondering why there were blue fireworks for an hour in Lin City tonight. It turned out it was Ms. Xiao putting them up for her husband. Married for 5 years, Ms. Zhao's declarations of love are always so high profile. I heard that last year, Ms. Xiao had a general anesthesia surgery, and when she was brought back to the ward, she wasn't completely awake. She saw her husband in a daze, and the first thing she said was, your stomach isn't good. Did you eat lunch on time? Ah. The nurse at the time was so moved she cried. Among a pile of comments, Xiao Yi replied to this one. Su Yuan is my husband. Loving and taking care of him is my responsibility as a wife. In an instant, there was a chorus of envious wails under this comment. And Su Yuan, the object of envy, was now staring blankly at the empty seat across from him. Actually, he and Xiao Yi had love. They had been in love for 7 years and never quarreled. Over these 7 years, Xiao Yi, as a female president, had given him all her money and love. But just a month ago, on the night that Xiao Yi was on a business trip, he discovered that Xiao Yi had long had other intentions. That night, Xiao Yi sent a voice message. When he clicked to listen, a strange male voice came from the microphone. After returning to the country for 6 months, with a hook of my finger, she took the bait. Tonight she prepared blue fireworks for me, but I don't like blue. To avoid wasting them, I'll give them to you to set off on your wedding anniversary. At the time, he didn't know who this man was. Until at a gathering 2 weeks ago, Xiao Yi and this man walked into the private room together. Xiao Yi introduced him, saying he was her distant relative, her cousin. Cheng Yang's refined and handsome face was full of hearty smiles as he greeted him. Hi, after being back in the country for over 6 months, I've finally met my cousin-in-law. The man's magnetic and familiar voice made Su Yuan's mind go blank. Later, he couldn't stay any longer and left early. When Xiao Yi came home in the middle of the night, he received a strange message. The rooftop was too exciting tonight. I didn't control my strength, and I left marks on her body. Gotta say, my ex's younger sister is so enchanting. She's willing to try any position. Su Yuan looked at Xiao Yi, who was drunk on the bed. 2 buttons on the woman's shirt were undone, and her chest was full of scratch marks. And the white shirt she was wearing was the women's version of the matching couple shirts he had custom-made for their wedding anniversary last year. On the collar was his wife's initial wife, which he had embroidered by hand. That night, when Xiao Yi received the shirt, she had pulled his hand in excitement and made him a promise. Su Yuan, when I wear this shirt you gave me, I will remind myself to stay away from other men. I will keep myself pure for you. Now, This English was filled with the sticky scent of after lovemaking. Today was his and Xiao Yi's 5th wedding anniversary. He arrived at the Western restaurant first, and 5 minutes later, he received a call from Xiao Yi. She said she was preparing a surprise for him and couldn't make it to the candlelight dinner, telling him to watch the fireworks alone first. Xiao Yi hung up after speaking, and 2 minutes later, he received a photo sent from her on WeChat. He opened it and saw her having a candlelight dinner with Cheng Yang. Flowers, red wine, extremely romantic. Now, this Weibo post professing her love was probably sent while Xiao Yi was in Cheng Yang's arms, wasn't it? Su Yuan ignored Xiao Yi's high-profile public display of love. He got up, grabbed his bag, and went home. After returning to the bedroom, he asked a servant for a pair of scissors. Su Yuan took out the custom-made matching couple shirts, cut them into strips of rags, and then shredded their marriage certificate. He put these in a gift box, writing second wedding gift on top. Su Yuan had just finished this when he bumped into Xiao Yi returning home. The woman's pretty face was gentle. She took his hand and led him downstairs. "Husband, I've prepared a surprise for you. Come down and see." After Su Yuan went downstairs, he saw a large box truck. The box truck was carrying a giant, deep blue gift box. Xiao Yi clapped her hands. The giant box opened automatically. Balloons and confetti flew up, and what caught his eye was a stone gray Maybach. 2 staff members quickly held up a banner for Mr. Su Yuan. This scene was the envy of the surrounding onlookers. Xiao Yi took out the Maybach keys, handed them to Su Yuan, and said with deep affection, "Husband, last time you mentioned that you wanted to change cars, I remembered it. As your wife, it's only natural that I buy you everything you want." When Su Yuan reached out and took the car keys, he noticed with sharp eyes. There was a hickey on the right side of Xiao Yi's neck. Although it had been covered with concealer, traces were still visible upon closer inspection. He only felt a wave of disgust and frowned fiercely. "What's wrong? You don't want the Maybach? Or you don't like the stone gray color?" Xiao Yi noticed Su Yuan's abnormality, her watery eyes full of worry. Su Yuan shook his head, staring at her with red eyes. "This car is pretty good." What he didn't want was not the Maybach, but her. Hearing this, Xiao Yi breathed a sigh of relief. When they returned to the bedroom again, Xiao Yi's sharp eyes caught sight of a gift box in front of the dresser. She was just about to look at it, when Su Yuan took a step forward and blocked the words on it. "Husband, is this a surprise you prepared for me?" A hint of joy surfaced in Xiao Yi's dark eyes. Su Yuan pulled at the corners of his lips, giving a fake smile, and said, "Yes, but I can't give it to you yet. I'm preparing a second gift, and I'll give you both gifts together in 7 days. Based on what I know about you, you should like it very much. A double surprise in 7 days?" Xiao Yi was vaguely looking forward to it, but after thinking for a moment, she began to mutter what day it was 7 days later. Suddenly, she realized and went out of the bedroom to call her male assistant. "I almost forgot, in 7 days it's Su Yuan's birthday. You go ahead and arrange a grand birthday banquet. Yes, the bigger the better. He throws big parties for my birthday every year. I can't treat his birthday badly." While Xiao Yi was on the phone, she didn't notice Su Yuan standing at the bedroom door. His face was chillingly cold. In the 7 years they were together, Xiao Yi had never forgotten her own birthday. This year, Cheng Yang had returned to the country, and she had completely forgotten about her own birthday. Well then, he also wanted to know what expression she would make if the birthday boy didn't show up at the birthday banquet she'd put so much effort into preparing. Su Yuan took out his phone and sent a message to his secretary. "Inquire about which hotel Xiao Yi is holding my birthday banquet at. Arrange the wedding venue on the floor above the birthday banquet." "Okay, sir." Su Yuan turned around to prepare to take a shower. Xiao Yi was just about to walk back into the bedroom when she received another call from her male assistant. "By the way, President Xiao, don't forget, you have to accompany Mr. to the university in trance to eat barbecue today. If Mr. doesn't get to eat, he'll be quite sad tonight." Right. I almost forgot. You order the barbecue according to Su Yuan's tastes, and I'll take him over there." After Xiao Yi finished speaking, she hurriedly pushed open the bedroom door. These 2 sentences were clearly heard by Su Yuan. Xiao Yi took the bathrobe from his hand and placed it aside. "Su Yuan, let's go to the university in trance to eat barbecue. I asked the owner to make it. We can eat it when we get there." The barbecue restaurant at the university entrance was one that he had really liked during his university days. It was because of a small interlude that he and Xiao Yi had first met in front of the barbecue restaurant. They got married 2 years after they started dating, and every wedding anniversary, Xiao Yi would accompany him to eat barbecue. In the past, Xiao Yi would prepare everything in advance, but now she needed to be reminded by her male assistant in order to remember this matter. An hour later, a black Bentley parked in front of the small barbecue restaurant, attracting particular attention. A small internet celebrity, who was live streaming, saw Xiao Yi and Su Yuan and excitedly went forward with their phone. "Oh my God, I saw the wife-doting CEO Xiao." My dear viewers in the live stream, look, the CPI ship is such a perfect match. It's rumored that President Xiao always takes her husband here for barbecue on their wedding anniversary, and it's true. Xiao, he got out of the car and led Su Yuan towards the barbecue restaurant. With sharp eyes, she noticed Su Yuan's shirt collar wasn't right. Under everyone's gaze, Xiao Yi stopped, stood on tiptoe, and straightened Su Yuan's shirt collar. This action was the envy of the surrounding female college students. One bold student stepped forward to offer blessings. "A female CEO worth billions is fixing her husband's collar. So sweet. Wishing you a long and happy marriage." Su Yuan expressionlessly looked at the woman standing on tiptoe. He turned and gave a polite, yet distant smile. Xiao Yi and Su Yuan entered the barbecue restaurant and sat at their usual window seat. She looked at the cashier, the owner's wife. "Is the barbecue ready? We want chives, chicken wings, oysters, and grilled mantou, slightly spicy and slightly numbing. My husband likes this combination, and 2 bottles of room temperature cola. Coming right up, just freshly grilled." The owner's wife had a deep impression of the couple. She had just told her husband that although it was past 9 o'clock, their relationship was so good that they would definitely come today to celebrate their anniversary. And here they were. The owner's wife brought the barbecue over, her kind face full of smiles. 5 years already, Miss Xiao and Mr. Su's relationship is so good. When is Miss Xiao planning to have a child? Xiao Yi looked at Su Yuan, a shy expression on her face. "We'll let nature take its course, hopefully by the end of the year. I also want to give birth to a little Su Yuan." Su Yuan looked down at the barbecue in front of him. After a few seconds of silence, he didn't say anything. Xiao Yi considerately handed him a skewer. Suddenly, a man walked in. He informed Xiao Yi that her car had been scratched by another car and asked her to take a look. Xiao Yi frowned, her expression darkening. "I'll go take a look. Honey, you eat first. I'll try to finish quickly and come back. Order whatever you want to drink, but no cold drinks. You have a sensitive stomach." These thoughtful words once again made the customers in the barbecue shop envious. "Oh my God, President Xiao is so considerate, always remembering that Mr. Su has a sensitive stomach, so thoughtful. I can't imagine if I were Mr. Su. I would be so happy." The owner's wife looked at the silent Su Yuan and smiled. Mr. Su is really lucky. He met a beautiful, gentle, thoughtful, and devoted woman in this life. The chances are so slim. Su Yuan smiled bitterly. Yes, the chances are slim. Well, he actually hadn't met her. Su Yuan didn't want to discuss this topic. He turned his head and looked out the window. Xiao Yi followed the man out of the barbecue restaurant. The man lowered his head and said something to her. Xiao Yi nodded, took big strides, and got into a black G-Wagon parked beside her Bentley. That black G-Wagon looked somewhat familiar to Su Yuan. At the last gathering, Cheng Yang made a high-profile entrance driving a black G-Wagon. The license plate was exactly the same as the one in front of him. It was said to be a homecoming gift from Xiao Yi, worth around $3 million. It was roughly the same price as the stone gray Maybach she gifted him today. Xiao Yi was a master of fairness. Ex and current first love and husband, she treated everyone equally. Su Yuan couldn't see the movement inside the car. He withdrew his gaze. A strange number was calling. After hesitating for a moment, he answered the call. A familiar voice came through the receiver. "You become clever. You know to have someone call me out." Xiao Yi's voice was coquettish. She continued to act spoiled. "Did you ask your assistant for my location? I said that after he falls asleep, I would go and be with you." Cheng Yang's voice was hoarse. There was a hint of intense desire and some dissatisfaction. "I feel uncomfortable. Just thinking that you are with him celebrating your anniversary, thinking about what you're going to do later, makes me feel uneasy all over." The woman chuckled twice, guessing he was jealous. She coaxed, "I've been with you for the past few days. I won't be able to handle him tonight. Besides, didn't I just give it to you 3 times 2 hours ago? Aren't you full yet? I still want more. Hurry up and send him home. Come find me." "Oomph, you big jealous pot, drive behind us in a while. We'll do it in the car. You little vixen. You're seducing me again." Soon, the sound of sticky kisses came through the receiver. Su Yuan hung up the phone, his hand trembling. He looked at the barbecue in front of him and suddenly felt a wave of nausea and disgust. It felt like something was dragging on his heart, making him panicked, dizzy, and uncomfortable all over. He took his chopsticks and poked the chives on his plate until they were a mess. Half an hour later, Xiao Yi came back. She looked at the barbecue that Su Yuan had barely touched. Then her eyes fell on his pale, handsome face. Her heart tightened. "Why do you look so pale? Are you feeling unwell? I'll take you to see a doctor now." The woman's tone was extremely anxious. Su Yuan turned his head away, not wanting to look at her hypocritical face. I heard some disgusting things, and I don't really feel like eating. What did you hear? Xiao Yi's eyebrows knitted together, extremely worried. You wouldn't want to know? Su Yuan's deep eyes were slightly red. Xiao Yi was confused and got up to hug Su Yuan, but he dodged her. Su Yuan stood up and strode out of the barbecue restaurant, immediately getting into a taxi, signaling the driver to go straight back to his place. Su Yuan, wait for me. Seeing that she couldn't stop the taxi, Xiao Yi hurriedly got into the Bentley, chasing after the taxi. Su Yuan sat in the back seat, his gaze towards the rearview mirror. The scene in front of him was ridiculous. The Bentley closely followed the taxi, and the black G-Wagon closely followed the Bentley. After entering the villa area, Su Yuan got out of the taxi. Xiao Yi followed, anxiously grabbing his hand. Honey, why are you angry? Is it because I went to handle the car issue and didn't accompany you for the barbecue? Su Yuan raised his head, staring straight at her. The woman's pretty face was full of worry and self-blame, but there was not a trace of fear after cheating. Yeah, Xiao Yi sighed. It's my fault for not handling it properly. In the future, even if the car is totaled, I will accompany my husband. After a pause, she took Su Yuan's hand, cautiously asking. The assistant just called. An important client accidentally fell from a building and is in critical condition. I have to rush over there. Honey, do you agree? Su Yuan frowned, keenly catching the hint of expectation and excitement in her helpless face. So, eager to go to the date? She even made up a lie about a client accidentally falling from a building. Su Yuan curled his lips, too lazy to expose her, and just calmly said He strolled towards the villa. When he reached the door, he didn't go inside. Instead, he walked straight to the parking lot on the side, watching the two people in the black G-Wagon passionately embrace and kiss. Inside the car, Cheng Yang's black eyes were full of desire. I put on the butler outfit and also prepared a box of studded condoms. After all these years, I know your fetish hasn't changed. Xiao Yi's watery eyes were filled with a burst of ecstasy. Her hand impatiently reached into the man's wide trench coat. How many times are you going to want me tonight? I can't wait. Let me see your butler outfit first. Cheng Yang held her hand. Seeing the expectant look in Xiao Yi's eyes, he raised his thin lips. Let's go somewhere else. You like excitement, right? How about trying it by the lake tonight? Xiao Yi was stunned, her watery eyes widening. So exciting tonight? Aren't you going to celebrate my birthday with me tomorrow? The butler outfit, the lake, and the special condoms are all specially prepared for you. Cheng Yang's Adam's apple bobbed. The black G-Wagon quickly started, driving out of the underground parking lot. Su Yuan's phone suddenly vibrated. He received a WeChat message from Xiao Yi. He opened it. It was a location near the lake. Half an hour later, Su Yuan sat in a taxi, watching the black G-Wagon not far away. Xiao Yi opened the sunroof. In just 1 minute, the black G-Wagon began to shake rapidly. Many people nearby stopped to watch, marveling. Outdoor sex exciting. TSK, that big beauty sure knows how to have fun. Lakeside G-Wagon, butler outfit, she's gonna have a blast tonight. Su Yuan, with red eyes, watched the shaking car, feeling a chill all over his body. His hand trembled as he recorded a 5-minute video. Then, he sent the video to his secretary, his voice hoarse as he instructed. On the wedding day, you play this video. After sending the voice message, Su Yuan called his mother. Mom, I'm going to Norway to see you and Dad in 7 days. On the other end of the phone, Su's mother noticed Su Yuan's trembling voice. She frowned fiercely. Is Xiao Yi going with you? I'm going back by myself. Okay, don't be sad. Su's mother's face was not good. She probably knew what happened and comforted him. Mom will pick you up at the airport then. In the middle of the night, Xiao Yi came back with a lot of noise, waking Su Yuan from his sleep. She was drunk, constantly holding Su Yuan's face and kissing him. Perhaps because Su Yuan was suddenly angry tonight, she uneasily murmured, Honey, I love you so much. You can get angry at me, scold me, hit me, but don't ever leave me in this life, okay? Honey, don't worry, I won't cheat on you. On the huge bed, Su Yuan coldly stared at Xiao Yi. The woman was probably too drunk. She forgot to cover the marks on her neck when she came home. But the love in her eyes did not contain even a trace of falsehood. The next morning, Su Yuan woke up groggily. Xiao Yi squeezed toothpaste for him, handed him warm mouthwash, and chose the clothes he was going to wear today. After Su Yuan got ready, Xiao Yi went downstairs with him. At the dining table, Xiao Yi's phone vibrated. She glanced at the message and looked at Su Yuan apologetically. Honey, I won't be back tonight. I have a party. Su Yuan paused while eating his crepe. He knew that Xiao Yi was going to be with Cheng Yang today, so he simply couldn't be bothered to expose her. Okay, After Xiao Yi left, Su Yuan found a taxi and followed her. 20 minutes later, Xiao Yi drove into a nice-looking residential area. Cheng Yang was dressed smartly and dashingly in a gray trench coat and a gray scarf. He saw Xiao Yi's Bentley from afar, a smile playing on his lips as he waved and strolled into the car. They likely cuddled for a while in the car before Xiao Yi drove out of the residential complex. Half an hour later, the black Bentley stopped in front of a wedding photography studio. Cheng Yang got out of the passenger seat, waited for Xiao Yi to walk over, and then naturally took her hand as they walked inside. The staff at the entrance greeted them warmly. Ms. Xiao and Mr. Cheng are here. We've cleared the space in advance. Let me show you the types of wedding photos you'll be taking later. Inside the car, Su Yuan watched the scene unfold with a blank face, a chill quickly engulfing his body. Suddenly, his phone rang. Su Yuan glanced at the screen. It was his buddy Delin. He swiped to answer, and Delin's cheerful voice soon came through the receiver. Where are you? I'll find you for a chat at the tea house. Su Yuan directly told him the location of the wedding photography studio. On the other end of the phone, Delin was stunned for a few seconds, then wailed. You and Xiao Yi have been married for 5 years, and now you're going to take wedding photos again? Nice one. You're getting more and more lovey-dovey, making us single dogs jealous. Su Yuan was slightly dazed and said bitterly, Delin, she's not taking wedding photos with me. Delin was startled for a few seconds, then realized something was wrong. Taking photos with another man? Xiao Yi is cheating? Wait, I'll be there in 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, Su Yuan got into Delin's car. Amid Delin's concerned questions, Su Yuan explained about Cheng Yang's return to the country recently and Xiao Yi's affair. Then he played the provocative voice message that Cheng Yang sent from Xiao Yi's phone a month ago, pointed to the wedding studio, and smiled bitterly. As you can see, today is Cheng Yang's birthday, and Xiao Yi is going to take wedding photos with him. Delin followed his gaze. Inside the wedding studio, Xiao Yi was lowering her head to tidy Cheng Yang's suit collar. Her expression was gentle, her movements careful, as if she were touching a work of art. Delin couldn't bear to watch any longer. I can't stand it anymore. I'm going to go beat them up to vent some of your anger. Delin had a hot temper. He rolled up his sleeves and was about to rush into the wedding studio when Su Yuan stopped him first. Wait, I want to see what they're going to do next. Half an hour later, Xiao Yi and Cheng Yang walked out of the wedding studio. One had changed into a sharp black suit, and the other into a snow-white fitted wedding dress, and they held hands as they got into the Bentley. After a while, they arrived at the lakeside. To prevent being photographed, the wedding photography area had been cordoned off in advance, and the photographer had been waiting for a long time. Seeing the two arrive, the photographer fawned and smiled. Ms. Xiao and Mr. Cheng are a perfect match, a golden couple, the most attractive couple I've ever photographed. Cheng Yang took Xiao Yi's hand and said coquettishly, It's because I have good taste and know how to pick a woman. My wife is a great beauty. Over the next half hour, the two changed into 3 sets of suits and wedding dresses. The winter weather was cold, and during breaks in the shoot, Xiao Yi considerately took a thick coat and draped it over Cheng Yang. When Cheng Yang was not in the mood to shoot, Xiao Yi would warmly encourage him until he successfully got into the zone. After the shooting was complete, Xiao Yi didn't rush to leave. She suddenly knelt on one knee. Under Cheng Yang's surprised gaze, she took out the roses and engagement ring she had prepared earlier. You said before you envied Su Yuan because when we got married, I was the one who proposed to him. I said I could propose to you too, but you understood my situation and insisted that it wasn't necessary. But I can't let you feel wronged. Yang, will you marry me? Cheng Yang's eyes were red, and he nodded excitedly. I will. I'm 200% willing to marry you. The surrounding camera crew immediately started to cheer. Together. Together. Inside the car, Su Yuan watched the scene unfold with a cold face, his whole body chilled to the bone. 5 years ago, when Xiao Yi had proposed to him, she had been just as affectionate. She had also been wearing a beautiful white wedding dress, holding a bouquet of vibrant roses and a carefully prepared engagement ring. And she had even cried as she choked out the words when she had proposed to him. Su Yuan, I will only ever love you. No other man can ever enter my heart. I beg you, will you marry me? I swear if I, Xiao Yi, ever cheat, I will die. Su Yuan laughed coldly a couple of times, laughing while suddenly crying. It turned out everything was fake. The vows were fake too. Even true feelings were transient. Delin looked at Su Yuan with concern and said softly, They've left. Are you still going to follow them? Follow them. Su Yuan lowered his eyes, then slowly looked out the window. He wanted to see where Xiao Yi and the others were going next. An hour later, the Bentley stopped at a Western restaurant. This Western restaurant was located in the most prosperous area of Lin City, and the window seats were extremely difficult to reserve. It wasn't mealtime, and only a few tables were occupied. Each seat in the restaurant was separated by a screen. It was clear that Xiao Yi had taken excellent precautions. Seeing Xiao Yi and the other person go in, Su Yuan first went next door to buy a set of mature men's clothing, then put on a mask and hat before strolling inside. Lin had already taken care of everything, spending money and having the person who had reserved the table behind Xiao Yi's table reassign it to them. Just as the two had sat down, a middle-aged couple was guided by a waiter to Xiao Yi's table. The two middle-aged people were around 50 years old, and they looked like ordinary people. However, on closer inspection, the middle-aged man looked 5 parts similar to Cheng Yang. Could it be that Xiao Yi is meeting Cheng Yang's parents? Lin exclaimed. Su Yuan, expressionless, took out his phone. He found an excellent angle and quickly took several photos through the gap in the screen. His timing was perfect. He managed to capture the moment when Xiao Yi handed a black card to Cheng's mother. This dead slut is quite generous, Lin cursed angrily. Su Yuan's watery eyes lowered slightly, and he slowly put down his phone. Let's go. He didn't want to stay here for even a second longer. When they went downstairs to the first floor, Lin wanted to send Su Yuan home, but Su Yuan shook his head. Lin, I'm very confused right now. I want to be alone. Lin didn't try to persuade him further, only repeatedly telling him to be careful. After Lin left, Su Yuan walked alone on the street. The outdoor temperature had already dropped to -1 degree, and he was wearing a thin jacket. But the cold he felt on his body was far less than the chill in his heart. After walking for an unknown time, Su Yuan's phone suddenly vibrated. It was a message from Xiao Yi. Su Yuan opened it, and 3 wedding photos were displayed on his phone screen. One photo showed Xiao Yi leaning against Cheng Yang like a bird clinging to a person, their posture intimate. Another showed the two of them in a sweet kiss, and the last one showed Xiao Yi kneeling on one knee, holding flowers to propose to Cheng Yang, who was smiling proudly. We took wedding photos today. She publicly proposed to me, and I was very touched. She even took the initiative to suggest meeting my parents. Except for not being able to get a marriage certificate, we have gone through all the procedures for getting married. Who says it's not good to share a wife? I can accept it. It just depends on whether you can accept it. Anyway, I won't be at a loss. Su Yuan looked at Cheng Yang's arrogant words and didn't reply with a single word. He sent the 3 wedding photos to his secretary and also sent the photos he took of the 4 people eating together today, along with screenshots of all the chat logs. Release all of this on the day of the wedding. After doing all this, Su Yuan put his phone back in his pocket. He walked like a zombie, completely unaware that a runaway black car was speeding towards him. Bang! Su Yuan was unable to dodge and was hit by the car, flying 2 meters away. After a very long time, Su Yuan opened his eyes again. The pungent smell of disinfectant filled the air, and he saw a white hospital room. Seeing that he had finally woken up, Xiao Yi anxiously rushed to his bedside, her dark eyes full of worry and lingering fear. You're awake? Do you feel any discomfort? Su Yuan's gaze shifted slightly, slowly landing on Xiao Yi. The woman's eyes were red, and she looked at him nervously and with heartache. It was as if she wished that she was the one who had been hurt. Su Yuan only felt a wave of nausea. The photos of the two of them in intimate poses flashed in his mind, and his stomach churned. Xiao Yi. Oh, Xiao Yi, which one of you is the real you? Why aren't you saying anything? Does anything hurt? I'll go call the doctor. Xiao Yi was anxiously going to call the doctor, but Su Yuan pulled her hand first. He asked in a hoarse voice, Why are you here? Xiao Yi was slightly taken aback. When she received the call from the hospital, she was still having dinner with Cheng Yang's parents. At that time, she was seized with fear and left Cheng Yang's family behind to rush over here. Luckily, Su Yuan wasn't seriously injured. I was having dinner with a client tonight, following up on a big deal. The hospital called to tell me you had a car accident, so I rushed over. Su Yuan's watery eyes narrowed slightly, staring straight at her. You just came from the client's place? Yes, Su Yuan. I'm so tired. Xiao Yi frowned, pinching the bridge of her nose. Su Yuan slowly closed his eyes and didn't say anything more. Xiao Yi sat by his side to keep him company. Not long after, her phone suddenly rang. She decisively hung up the call, but the other party persistently called again. Xiao Yi put her phone on silent and sent a message with her head down. A minute later, her expression was excited, and she found an excuse to leave in a hurry. Not long after Xiao Yi left, Lin came to visit Su Yuan. However, his expression was not good. Guess who I bumped into when I went upstairs? Seeing Lin, Su Yuan sat up halfway, thought for a few seconds, and guessed, Xiao Yi? Lin curled his lips, his face full of disgust. The 3rd floor of this hospital is for male medical services. When I was on the elevator, as soon as the doors opened, I saw Xiao Yi and Cheng Yang. At that time, I felt that something was off, so I followed the crowd out of the elevator and saw Cheng Yang holding Xiao Yi's pregnancy test report, his smile practically splitting his face, telling her that she was going to be a mom. Su Yuan was stunned for a moment. He lowered his head thoughtfully, with not a hint of unhappiness on his face. Xiao Yi is pregnant. Dallin felt that Su Yuan was a bit abnormal at this moment, but he couldn't pinpoint exactly what was wrong. He moved closer to Su Yuan and touched his forehead. "You're not angry?" "No. You don't have a fever that's messed with your head." Su Yuan smiled faintly, his pale lips slightly parted. "You don't know. Xiaoyi has a problem with her body. The doctor said she can't have children. 3 years ago, they had been trying for a year, and Xiaoyi hadn't gotten pregnant. He thought it was his problem and made an appointment to go to the hospital for a checkup. Xiaoyi worried about the pressure on him, so she accompanied him for the checkup. The results showed that Xiaoyi had infertility. That night, he didn't sleep all night, convincing himself to accept the fact that he would be childless for the rest of his life, as long as Xiaoyi loved him. He even worried about affecting Xiaoyi's self-esteem and career, so he asked Dr. He to help hide the condition and publicly claimed that he needed to condition his body so that Xiaoyi could get pregnant. Now, Xiaoyi was excited about becoming a mother, making his careful concealment over the past 3 years seem particularly foolish. Holy crap! This is huge! Dallin was so excited that he almost jumped up. He rubbed his hands, his eyebrows raised. "I have an idea, Su Yuan. You're going to settle in Norway in 5 days. Let's just pretend we don't know anything. The matter of Xiaoyi's pregnancy is most likely a lie from Cheng Yang, and when the time comes, Cheng Yang won't know how to clean up the mess. Let's watch him perform. When the time is right, we'll send Xiaoyi's test results to her. I really want to see if Xiaoyi will be furious when she learns the truth." The next morning, Xiaoyi did not come to the hospital. In the afternoon, the secretary came to Su Yuan's ward. After reporting on the wedding preparations, she hesitated and looked at Su Yuan. "Just speak your mind." Su Yuan's eyebrows furrowed slightly. The secretary carefully looked at Su Yuan and whispered, "At noon, CO Xiao asked me to send some documents to the villa. When I went there, I saw Cheng Yang sitting on the sofa in your villa's living room, wearing pajamas. Sir, you've always been so good to me. I really couldn't stand to watch it, so I wanted to tell you." A chill rose from the soles of his feet, and Su Yuan's small face grew cold. He was still hospitalized, yet Cheng Yang couldn't wait to move into their house. No wonder Xiaoyi had specifically told him last night that he must notify her before he was discharged so that she could pick him up. "I understand, thank you." Su Yuan picked up the phone on the table and turned on the surveillance footage. The screen was completely black. Xiaoyi had blocked the camera in advance. Su Yuan frowned and looked at the secretary, who had not yet left. "Tonight, I'll find someone to distract Xiaoyi and Cheng Yang. You contact someone to install surveillance. Do it discreetly." "Okay, sir." At 10 o'clock that night, Xiaoyi came to the ward. She looked at Su Yuan on the bed, her watery eyes filled with apology. "Honey, you asked me to come. Did you miss me?" "I'm sorry, I was busy today." Su Yuan frowned and interrupted her directly, giving her an out. "I know, you're preparing a birthday banquet for me. That's why you came to see me so late today." Xiaoyi was stunned, then smiled and took Su Yuan's hand, intertwining their fingers. "You know me so well, honey." Su Yuan stared at Xiaoyi and followed her words. "Yes, I understand you, and I understand everything you do." Xiaoyi's heart skipped a beat, and she murmured, "Su Yuan." Just as she was about to say something, a nurse pushed in a medical cart to change Su Yuan's foredrip. The next day, Su Yuan turned on the surveillance. In the villa, Cheng Yang and Xiaoyi were having lunch together. Cheng Yang was sitting in his usual spot. Xiaoyi, in a coquettish voice, said that she was pregnant and refused to eat. Cheng Yang patiently coaxed her to eat spoonful by spoonful. "Be good, take care of your body, and have a baby." Xiaoyi's lips curled into a small smile, a look of happiness on her face. After lunch, Cheng Yang went upstairs. Xiaoyi called the servants over and said in a deep voice, "Yang doesn't have an official title, and it's normal that his temper might be a little bad. You all need to be tolerant. Also, about the matter of Yang moving in. When Su Yuan comes back, no one is allowed to tell him." "Yes, madam." Su Yuan watched the surveillance footage calmly. He turned his gaze away and began to instruct his secretary to prepare the wedding invitations. He would make a list of invitees today. The next day, it was the 3rd day of the countdown to his departure. Early in the morning, Xiaoyi came to visit Su Yuan with a rib soup. "I had the auntie make it especially for you. It's your favorite lotus root and yam rib soup. Try it." "Okay." Su Yuan didn't refuse, eating small bite by small bite. After Xiaoyi left, another half hour passed. and Su Yuan turned on the surveillance footage. In the living room, Cheng Yang was accompanying Xiao Yi as she listened to prenatal music. He touched Xiao Yi's stomach, his face full of tenderness. "Wife, you have beautiful big eyes. Our baby's eyes should look like yours." Xiao Yi's lips curved into a smile. "You have a nice face shape. Our baby's face can look like yours." That night, Lawyer Li came to the ward. "Sir, your divorce agreement with President Xiao is now in effect." "Thank you." Su Yuan looked at the divorce agreement, then turned his head to look at the secretary beside him. "Make a copy and put it in the second marriage gift box. 7 years of torturous relationship should finally end. Countdown, second day." Early in the morning, Xiao Yi arrived at the hospital room with a bouquet of sunflowers and a jade pendant of Buddha that she had spent $1 million to acquire. She looked at Su Yuan, who was recovering well, put the jade pendant around his neck, and her pretty face was full of smiles. "You could be discharged from the hospital tomorrow. I went to a master last night to get this Buddha jade pendant to keep you safe." Su Yuan looked at the Buddha jade pendant around his neck, his handsome face slightly tense. Last night, Cheng Yang had appendicitis and needed a minor surgery. Xiao Yi was worried about him and sent him to the hospital, then rushed to get a safety charm. This Buddha jade pendant was just an afterthought. As soon as Xiao Yi left, the secretary arrived at the hospital room. "Sir, the invitations have been written. After you board the plane, we will send out the electronic invitations." After a pause, he hesitated. "President Xiao just bought the villa behind yours at a high price." Su Yuan frowned slightly. "Isn't that villa always occupied?" The secretary shook his head secretly and said cautiously, "Yes, sir, but President Xiao offered a high price and gave them a large contract to persuade that family to move." He continued, "I heard that the villa is only registered under Cheng Yang's name. It's a gift to him for making the madam pregnant." Su Yuan pursed his lips, his dark eyes full of coldness. Xiao Yi was planning to keep a man like a mistress. In the evening, Su Yuan saw through the surveillance footage that Cheng Yang was reluctantly directing the servants to pack his belongings and move to the villa behind them. Today was Su Yuan's last day before leaving. Early in the morning, Xiao Yi came to pick up Su Yuan from the hospital. In the car, she considerately fastened Su Yuan's seatbelt and said softly, "Su Yuan, today is your birthday. I prepared a birthday banquet. It will be held at 7 o'clock tonight. Remember to invite your brothers." "Okay." The black car drove into the villa area. After 4 days, Su Yuan returned to this home again. Everything was the same as the day he was hospitalized, with no changes, as if Cheng Yang had never been there. Su Yuan entered the master bedroom. On the dressing table was an electric razor. He glanced at it casually. This was a branded product, worth over 10,000 yuan. This deliberately left behind razor seemed more like a form of demonstration. Su Yuan didn't stay in the master bedroom for long before a servant called him downstairs for a meal. At the dining table, Xiao Yi peeled a shrimp for Su Yuan and put it to his mouth. Her gestures were intimate, gentle, and considerate, just like when Cheng Yang had fed her a meal 2 days ago. Su Yuan chewed slowly. He looked at Xiao Yi's gentle and affectionate eyes and suddenly asked, if one day you dreamed that I left you, would you be sad?" Xiao Yi paused her shrimp peeling action. Her expression tightened as she grasped Su Yuan's hand. "Su Yuan, not only would I be sad, I would go crazy. Don't leave me." Su Yuan pursed his lips. He wanted to say something more, but Xiao Yi's phone on the table suddenly vibrated. Su Yuan glanced at it. It was a message from Cheng Yang. "The surgical wound is bleeding. It hurts so much. I wonder if something serious is wrong." A trace of panic flashed in Xiao Yi's watery eyes. She hurriedly got up. "Su Yuan, there's a slight problem with the birthday banquet setup. I need to go and handle it now. I'll pick you up later to go to the banquet." She was about to leave when Su Yuan suddenly grabbed her hand and smiled at her. "Xiao Yi, goodbye." Xiao Yi turned sharply. She looked at the quiet Su Yuan in front of her, her whole body trembling. Previously, Su Yuan's eyes were always full of her. When had his eyes become so desolate and cold? "Su Yuan, you." Xiao Yi wanted to say something, but her phone vibrated again, and she left in a hurry. Su Yuan went to the master bedroom, took away all his documents, threw the Buddha jade pendant in the trash, and called his secretary. "Xiao Yi went to be with Cheng Yang. I'm going to the airport now to catch a flight. After I board the plane, proceed as planned tonight." He added, "Also, remember to invite Cheng Yang to his wedding." "Yes, sir." An hour later, Su Yuan arrived at the airport. He passed through security and sent a message to his parents saying he would be boarding in half an hour. Then, he opened his chat with Xiao Yi. "I prepared 2 surprises for you tonight. I hope you like them." Xiao Yi replied instantly, "Husband, I'm looking forward to your surprises. I'm still dealing with a birthday banquet setup. I need to be there to oversee things." You wait for me to pick you up and celebrate your birthday. Su Yuan curved his lips. You don't need to pick me up. I'll go to Jizhou Hotel myself. You wouldn't go to the appointment. The birthday banquet was on the second floor of the Jizhou Hotel, and the wedding venue was on the third floor of the Jizhou Hotel. Only by making Xiao Yi wait for him at the Jizhou Hotel would the wedding invitation be sent and the wedding ceremony on the third floor proceed as scheduled. Half an hour later, the announcement came that passengers for Norway could board. Su Yuan pulled out his SIM card and threw it in the trash can. Goodbye forever, Xiao Yi. From now on, you will never see me again. At 6:30 p.m., Xiao Yi waited at the entrance of the Jizhou Hotel. Guests arrived as scheduled, most of whom were her and Su Yuan's good friends. Xiao Yi couldn't see Su Yuan, so she took out her phone and dialed his number. A cold female voice came from the receiver. Hello, the number you have dialed is powered off. Xiao Yi frowned fiercely, and a bad feeling rose from the bottom of her heart. Su Yuan, could it be that he's angry and doesn't plan to attend the birthday banquet tonight? Xiao Yi gripped her phone tightly and started to recall what happened in the afternoon. At lunch, she received a message that Cheng Yiyang's surgical wound was bleeding. She left Su Yuan and took Cheng Yiyang to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctor said that Cheng Yiyang was emotionally agitated and that he hadn't recovered well from staying up late last night, which was why his surgical wound was bleeding. He told her to pay more attention to the patient. Today is Su Yuan's birthday. Xiao Yi originally planned to coax Cheng Yiyang and then return to be with Su Yuan. But in the ward, Cheng Yiyang stubbornly clung to her. He put his hand on her belly, looking like a doting father. I want to be with the baby, just sit in the hospital for a while. Xiao Yi's face turned cold, and she refused. No, today is Su Yuan's birthday. I want to spend it with him. But just as she was about to leave, Cheng Yiyang lay on his side in the bed. His tall body shrunk into a ball, and he began to shout about the pain in his wound, wanting to be with the baby. In the end, Xiao Yi's heart softened and she compromised, spending the whole afternoon with Cheng Yiyang. It wasn't until the banquet was about to start that she coaxed Cheng Yiyang, promising him a surprise that night. Only then did Cheng Yiyang let her leave. But when Xiao Yi hurried to the Jizhou Hotel, she found that she couldn't contact Su Yuan. Husband, why is your phone off? Xiao Yi was anxious, dialing several times, but the receiver kept telling her that the other party's phone was off. Her secretary had been waiting by her side for a long time. She looked down at the time, and holding a gift box that read second marriage gift, she walked to Xiao Yi. Ms. Xiao, mister, has prepared 2 surprises for you tonight. Would you like to open the gift box now? Xiao Yi hurriedly took the gift box. Just as she was about to open it, she suddenly noticed the 4 large characters written on the box, second marriage gift. Xiao Yi's small face darkened, and her tone suddenly turned cold. Why does it say second marriage gift on it? Did you get the wrong one? The secretary looked at Xiao Yi in front of her and shook her head. Ms. Xiao, I didn't get the wrong one, mister. Gave me this gift box. A bad feeling suddenly rose in Xiao Yi's heart. She handed the gift box back to the secretary, frowned, and took 2 steps back, as if the gift box in front of her was some sort of monster. Then, she called the butler at the villa to ask for Su Yuan's whereabouts. Did Su Yuan go out? Send him over to attend the birthday banquet. On the first floor of the villa, the butler cautiously replied, Madam, mister, left 6 hours ago with a suitcase. Xiao Yi's heart suddenly jolted, her pupils suddenly shrank, and her heart beat rapidly. What did you say? Where did he go with the suitcase? Why didn't you tell me in advance? The butler's helpless voice came from the receiver. Before Mr. left, he said some words of farewell. He said thank you for our efforts over the past 5 years, and he gave each of us a red envelope of 5,000 yuan. Mr. also specifically instructed us not to report his departure to you. Xiao Yi's head ached terribly, and somewhere in her heart, something seemed to be forcibly torn away, causing her extreme discomfort. She wanted to rush back to the villa, but the birthday banquet before her prevented her from leaving. Go to the master bedroom now and look at the table on the left side of the bed, in the first drawer. Are Su Yuan's documents still there? The butler immediately went upstairs, and he opened the drawer that Xiao Yi had mentioned. He carefully rummaged through it and cautiously reported, Madam, there are only your documents in the drawer, mister. SID card, passport, and driver's license are gone. Also, after you left at noon, mister, had someone move all his belongings away. According to Mr. S' intention, he wants to donate all his belongings to the welfare home. Xiao Yi was lost for a few seconds. The hand holding her phone trembled violently, and a trace of imperceptible nervousness, even fear, flashed in her watery eyes. Su Yuan's documents were gone, and before he left he donated all of his things. Could it be that he wanted to leave her on his birthday? To embrace a new life? Impossible. Xiao Yi hung up the phone and unwilling to give up, she opened WeChat and sent a message to Su Yuan. Husband, didn't we agree to celebrate your birthday together? Don't be angry anymore. Where are you? I'll pick you up. As soon as she clicked send, an exclamation mark popped up on the phone screen. Su Yuan had blacklisted her. Xiao Yi stared blankly at her phone. Unwilling to give up, she sent another, husband. The chat page reminded her again that she had been blocked. The secretary stood by, quietly watching Xiao Yi. She once again presented the second wedding gift, softly reminding, President Xiao, sir asked you to open the gift box. His answer is inside. Xiao Yi then looked at the gift box again. Her mind was a chaotic mess, and she numbly opened it. What came into view was a pile of shredded pieces of couple shirts. The topmost collar piece still had husband hand sewn on it by Su Yuan. Xiao Yi carefully picked up the piece of collar with husband sewn on it, nearly falling to the ground. This is Su Yuan's gift for me today? Impossible, who's playing a prank? He wouldn't have shredded his couple's shirts. A year ago, on their 4th wedding anniversary. That night, Su Yuan gifted her the custom-made women's couple shirt. He looked at her tenderly, his dark eyes filled with love. Xiao Yi, in my heart, you are my wife, and I am your husband. I enjoy every day I spend with you. However, if you ever change your mind, if I am disappointed in you, disappointed in this marriage, I will personally destroy these things and leave you forever. Xiao Yi stood there, as if her soul had been taken away. Su Yuan had personally shredded the couple's shirts. Could it be? Did he know about those things between her and Cheng Yang? The secretary noticed Xiao Yi hadn't moved for a long time and reminded her, President Xiao, there's something below. Xiao Yi hurriedly picked up the shredded pieces and put them aside. The second layer of the gift box revealed the shredded marriage certificate. Su Yuan had even shredded their marriage certificate. Xiao Yi's hand trembled as she tried to piece the marriage certificate back together. She glanced at the divorce agreement at the very bottom. Her movements paused as she picked up the divorce agreement, carefully flipping through it. Confirming that it was Su Yuan's handwriting, Xiao Yi looked at the secretary, her voice hoarse. Did he have you take the divorce agreement I signed from the safe? The secretary nodded, truthfully reporting. Sir contacted lawyerly a long time ago. This divorce agreement is already in effect. With just one sentence, Xiao Yi felt as if she had suffered a major trauma, her petite body swaying precariously. She lowered her head, touching the divorce agreement, and muttered to herself, impossible. This divorce agreement must be fake. Su Yuan must be joking with me. How could he suddenly leave me for no reason? The secretary, observing the woman on the verge of collapse, pointed upstairs and reminded, President Xiao, the second surprise mister. Su prepared for you is on the 3rd floor. I'll take you there now. Xiao Yi frowned heavily, her heart filled with resistance. I'm not going. She was afraid Su Yuan would have prepared a surprise that would scare and despair her. The secretary lowered her eyes. Sir instructed that if President Xiao is unwilling to go upstairs, I should convey his words to you. Sir said, this is the last surprise he prepared for you. Whether you accept it or not is up to you. Xiao Yi's complexion was terrible. She hesitated for a moment before deciding to go upstairs. The secretary followed behind Xiao Yi. As the elevator doors closed, she tapped send on an invitation on her phone. At the same time, in the 2nd floor banquet hall, the guests' phones vibrated in unison. Everyone lowered their heads to look at their phones, all of them showing surprised expressions. What's going on? I received a wedding invitation for Xiao Yi and Cheng Yang. Who is Cheng Yang? Today is Su Yuan's birthday banquet. Isn't it prepared by Xiao Yi herself? Did they get divorced a long time ago? It feels like we're about to witness a major scandal. Let's go up to the 3rd floor to take a look. The guests surged towards the 3rd floor. Meanwhile, on the 3rd floor of the Jizhou Hotel, as soon as Xiao Yi stepped out of the elevator, she saw the corridor lined with stand-up displays, showcasing newly taken wedding photos of her and Cheng Yang. Above the banquet hall entrance hung a banner. Congratulations to Xiao Yi and Cheng Yang on their wedding. Xiao Yi's face turned livid as she looked at the scene before her. Who was so bold as to take it upon themselves to arrange her wedding with Cheng Yang? Suddenly, she realized something and turned abruptly to ask the secretary. This wouldn't be the surprise Su Yuan prepared for me, would it? The secretary lowered her gaze, pointing towards the hall, guiding her to walk in. President Xiao, the real surprise is inside. Xiao Yi's mind went blank for a few seconds. She didn't know how she walked into the hall. She only knew that when she reached the wedding scene, she was struck as if by lightning. The scene before her completely robbed her of her ability to think. On the huge screen, her and Su Yuan's divorce agreement was being projected, followed by 99 wedding photos of her and Cheng Yang, and photos of her dining with Cheng Yang's parents. Xiao Yi staggered, losing all sense of control as she slumped into a chair nearby. She began to recall the details of her interactions with Su Yuan over the past few days. Only then did Xiao Yi realize that Su Yuan probably knew about Cheng Yiyang's existence long ago. Otherwise, when she left at noon, Su Yuan's eyes wouldn't have been so desolate. His goodbye now sounded more like a farewell. She had foolishly thought she had hidden it well. But she and Cheng Yiyang only shared physical intimacy, not emotions. Su Yuan really misunderstood her. Xiao Yi looked at the secretary again, her voice tinged with sadness. Where did Su Yuan go? The secretary still shook her head. Sorry, the president told me not to say. Just then, a figure ran in through the door. Cheng Yiyang walked into the wedding venue, wearing a groom's suit. He looked at the wedding photos projected on the big screen, his handsome face full of excitement, showing none of the weakness he displayed at the hospital that afternoon. Is the surprise you mentioned getting married to me? Xiao, I love it. Compared to Cheng Yiyang's surprise, Xiao Yi's face was gloomy. Who told you to come? You should go back first. Don't stay here. I'll talk to you tonight. Cheng Yiyang's thick brows furrowed, his handsome face full of displeasure. He couldn't wait to marry Xiao Yi. Didn't you tell someone to inform me to come here? This is the wedding you prepared for me. It's only right for me, the groom-to-be, to attend. But Xiao, since you're already divorced from Su Yuan, why didn't you tell me? Were you trying to give me a surprise by hiding it? By the way, when does the wedding start? Have you informed my parents to attend? Are you planning any other surprises for me? Cheng Yiyang's rapid-fire questions gave Xiao Yi a headache. Just as she was about to tell him to leave quickly, a large group of people walked over. The guests all entered the hall, looking at the wedding venue in surprise. They stared in shock at the divorce agreement, the wedding photos of Xiao Yi and Cheng Yiyang, and the photos of Xiao Yi having dinner with Cheng Yiyang's parents that were being projected on the big screen. Suddenly, the screen flashed and started playing a video that Su Yuan had secretly recorded of the lakeside, the black G-Wagon in a state of physical intimacy. Someone with sharp eyes exclaimed, "The male lead in the car isn't Su Yuan. It looks like this." Cheng Yiyang. The guests immediately began to discuss the wedding photos in front of them, with many gossiping, cursing, and sighing. However, most of Su Yuan's friends were outraged on his behalf. So, my good brother Su Yuan was cheated on during their marriage? No wonder Su Yuan didn't attend his own birthday banquet today. So he doesn't want Xiao Yi anymore. I despise her too if I were him. TSK, a good wife cheating with another man. But this male third, well, isn't anything special. Could it be he's good in bed? Xiao Yi's face was gloomy, and she called the hotel manager, ordering them to turn off the big screen. But the screen flashed again, and several chat records were displayed. They were screenshots taken by Su Yuan, the chat records between him and Xiao Yi. The first screenshot was of a provocative voice message sent by Cheng Yiyang, lasting 30 seconds. The secretary had thoughtfully added audio to it. 6 months back in the country, and she's hooked with a snap of my fingers. She's prepared blue fireworks for me tonight, but I don't like blue, so to avoid wasting it, I'll give it to you for your wedding anniversary. The guests were instantly in an uproar. Cheng Yiyang's face went pale, and he panicked inwardly. How could Su Yuan, that idiot, have released the chat records? Underneath the provocative voice message were photos Xiao had sent of her and Cheng Yiyang in bed, as well as Cheng Yiyang taking a mirror selfie while wearing a couple shirt. The second screenshot showed Xiao Yi having a candlelit dinner with Cheng Yiyang on their 5th wedding anniversary. The third screenshot was of the location of the lakeside car intimacy sent by Xiao Yi. The fourth screenshot was of 3 wedding photos sent by Xiao, along with the provocation of Su Yuan, saying that she was going to have him share her as a wife. The guests began whispering amongst themselves, how could a voice message sent by Xiao Yi be from Cheng Yiyang? Then the person who had noticed things earlier pointed out the key. Let's make a bold guess. Could it be that Cheng Yiyang used Xiao Yi's phone to send this to Su Yuan? One sentence solved the guests' doubts, and also stirred their anger. Are all the men out there this arrogant now? Using a female CEO's phone to send messages to provoke her husband? I can't stand it anymore. Although I'm Xiao Yi's friend, I can't accept her behavior either. I want to curse someone. Being a male third wheel so brazenly. Has he not been beaten before? Many of the guests were good friends of Xiao Yi, but now they were all pointing at Cheng Yiyang and yelling, together with Su Yuan's friends. Xiao Yi understood everything now, her eyes red with anger. She walked towards Cheng Yiyang step by step. You said you were using my phone to play games, but in reality, you were sending messages to Su Yuan, trying to provoke him? Did I not warn you? You can have whatever you want, but you can't let Su Yuan know about your existence. Did I not stress to you that in this lifetime, I only have one husband, and that is Su Yuan? Xiao Yi looked at the chat logs on the screen, and suddenly felt especially sorry for Su Yuan. She couldn't imagine what Su Yuan had been through these days. Every time, Cheng Yiyang sent messages to provoke Su Yuan, how devastated, helpless, and uncomfortable he must have felt. If Su Yuan had treated her like that, she might have already gone crazy. Xiao Yi's face was pale. She glared coldly at Cheng Yiyang, and a chill emanated from her. Cheng Yiyang shook his head. This was the first time Xiao Yi had given him a cold look. He tried to defend himself. He was the one who called and cursed at me first. I couldn't swallow my anger, so I retaliated. If he hadn't cursed at me first, would I have provoked him? Xiao Yi's eyes were bloodshot. She suddenly picked up her bag and slammed it against Cheng Yiyang several times. You still want to argue? Given Su Yuan's character, how could he possibly call and curse at you? He wouldn't even bother to pay you any attention. Cheng Yiyang was hit on his wound. His face paled from the pain, and he struggled to squeeze out a few words. It hurts, my surgery wound hurts so much. Don't be angry, it will scare the baby in your belly. Xiao Yi took a deep breath. She withdrew her hand, gritting her teeth, and said, If you weren't the father of my child, I could kill you right now. You should be thankful that you are his father. Cheng Yiyang gasped for air, his eyes darted around. The hotel manager rushed up to the third floor. He pressed the remote control, but found that he could not control the screen, and finally had to have someone cut off the power. This farce ended in an unhappy breakup. In the large lobby, only Xiao Yi was left alone. She picked up her phone and called Delin. The moment the call connected, before Xiao Yi could speak, Delin spoke first with sarcasm. Oh, isn't it President Zhao's wedding today? Congratulations. It's a pity I'm not free to go tonight. I'll miss your wedding of the century. Xiao Yi's face was terrible. She explained in a hoarse voice. It's a misunderstanding. Su Yuan has misunderstood me. I will explain to him. Misunderstanding? On the other end of the phone, Delin sneered. Getting your first love pregnant is also a misunderstanding? Xiao Yi, you know better than anyone how much Su Yuan has sacrificed for this relationship. The year Su Yuan met Xiao Yi, he happened to be a junior at Lin City University. He had originally planned to immigrate to Norway with his parents after graduation, but Xiao Yi's appearance had tied him down. Su Yuan, a high-achieving handsome man who was pampered by his parents, resolutely chose to stay in the country, only returning to Norway to spend a week with his parents each year. All of this was because during their passionate love affair, Xiao Yi had said, Stay here with me, Su Yuan, and Su Yuan had remembered it for 5 whole years. And in the 5 years since Su Yuan and Xiao Yi married, outsiders thought he was just a pretty boy who lived off of Xiao Yi. But few people knew that some of Xiao Yi's important connections had been managed with Su Yuan's help. Su Yuan had a high EQ, plus he loved her deeply. So for these 5 years, no one around Xiao Yi, including her relatives, friends, executives, and servants, was not convinced by Su Yuan. Xiao Yi's face was pale. After a long silence, she asked in a hoarse voice, Su Yuan, does he know I'm pregnant? She had obviously kept it well hidden. Did Cheng Yiyang tell him? On the other end of the phone, Delin laughed sarcastically. Did you think you could hide it from Su Yuan forever? You weren't planning to secretly give birth to the child and raise it alone, were you? At this moment, Delin was relieved that Su Yuan had been able to cut his losses in time. Xiao Yi, this kind of scumbag, woman who straddles 2 boats, was really not suitable to hold hands with for the rest of one's life. Su Yuan deserved a better woman. Having her thoughts guessed, Xiao Yi's face turned livid, and a shadow of gloom appeared in her watery eyes. Where exactly did Su Yuan go? I'm going to find him now and explain. Delin narrowed his eyes and, changing his tone, suddenly asked, Can you get an abortion? If you can, I'll tell you his whereabouts. Xiao Yi hesitated for a moment, then sighed. You don't know, Su Yuan has a health problem. He can't get me pregnant. When I give birth to this child, I will make Cheng Yiyang leave Lin City immediately and never allow him to step foot in Lin City again. Delin shook his head secretly, feeling sorry for Su Yuan once again. His good friend had once, because he loved Xiao Yi deeply, foolishly bore the blame for her infertility. And Xiao Yi, after he left, was still considering wanting a child. Even if Su Yuan really couldn't make her pregnant, Xiao Yi shouldn't have chosen the most hurtful method, giving birth to her first love's child. I have no comment, Xiao Yi. One day you will pay for your actions. Xiao Yi frowned, feeling that Delin's words sounded strange. She wanted to ask further, but he had already hung up the phone. Xiao Yi was still not giving up. She started contacting Su Yuan's friends one by one, trying to find out Su Yuan's whereabouts. At today's birthday banquet, except for Delin who didn't come, almost all of Su Yuan's friends were there. They learned that Xiao Yi had cheated on her husband and had an affair with her first love. Some people directly didn't answer her calls, and those who did answer mostly scolded her head-on, sticking up for Su Yuan. In the end, Xiao Yi made dozens of calls and still couldn't get any news about Su Yuan. Helplessly, she could only send professionals to investigate Su Yuan's whereabouts. The next day at noon, in Xiao Yi's office, The assistant pushed open the door and reported carefully. President Xiao, the gentleman has gone to Norway. Norway? Xiao Yi's face was solemn. She closed her eyes, completely falling into despair. 5 years ago, when she and Su Yuan received their marriage certificate, Su Yuan's parents had asked her to sign an agreement. If Su Yuan was hurt because of her and returned to Norway alone, she would not be allowed to step foot in Norway for the rest of her life. Otherwise, all her assets would automatically belong to Su Yuan alone. Xiao Yi was silent for a moment, then said in a hoarse voice, "Book a ticket to Norway as early as possible." The assistant was stunned for a few seconds, then whispered to persuade her. "President Xiao, once you step foot in Norway, regardless of whether you can reconcile with the gentleman, the agreement you sign will automatically take effect. You will be left with nothing by then. Are you sure you still want to go to Norway?" "Yes." Xiao Yi couldn't wait to see Su Yuan and explain things to him. She asked the assistant to book the ticket and hurried back to the villa. Last night, she didn't dare to go home all night. Now that she stepped into this house again, just like the housekeeper had said, all of Su Yuan's things were gone. She went to the master bedroom and slowly opened the drawer next to the bedside. In the drawer, all of Su Yuan's documents were gone. Xiao Yi's heart tightened. Looking at the empty bedroom, a huge wave of despair came crashing down. She asked the servants to pack her luggage, printed out the photos of her and Su Yuan from her phone, and prepared to go to Norway to win Su Yuan back. An hour later, Xiao Yi was about to set off for the airport when a figure suddenly rushed in. The person grabbed her and hugged her, looking down at her. "You're going to Norway. What if our child has an accident because you're too emotional?" 10 minutes ago, Chung Yang learned the news from the villa behind them. If Xiao Yi went to Norway, her assets would automatically belong to Su Yuan. Chung Yang completely couldn't sit still. Xiao Yi's face showed struggle, her small face slightly tense. "I'll go for a week and then come back." Chung Yang shook his head, gritting his teeth. "Your body is already weak. If you go there and argue with Su Yuan, it's likely you'll miscarry. Since you want to go, then get an abortion first. I have the right as the father." He was gambling that Xiao Yi wanted this non-existent child. Xiao Yi hesitated for a moment and finally compromised. She thought of a compromise. "I'll wait 2 months until the fetus is stable. Then I'll go to Norway to find Su Yuan." After a pause, she stared coldly at Chung Yang and said in a deep voice, "You better pray that I can safely give birth to this child. Otherwise, I'll make your whole family pay the price." A sinister look surfaced in the woman's eyes, making Chung Yang feel a bit afraid. If Xiao Yi knew that she wasn't pregnant at all, and that the pregnancy report was forged by him in collaboration with the doctor. No, that wouldn't happen. He had arranged everything perfectly. She wouldn't find out. At worst, he'd just have to put in more effort these days. Meanwhile, at the airport in Norway, Su Yuan dragged his suitcase out, and from afar, he saw his parents waiting in the arrivals area. Su's mother looked at the haggard Su Yuan, and tears welled up in her heart with distress. The son she had poured all her efforts into nurturing had become so weathered and exhausted after only 5 years of marriage. There was no light left in his eyes. "Have you settled everything back home?" She and old Su had found out about the events in Lin City last night. Xiao Yi's betrayal of Su Yuan, secretly taking wedding photos with Chung Yang and meeting his parents, had caused quite a stir. Su Yuan looked at his parents, knowing that he couldn't hide anything from them, and choked up, "Mom, Dad, I'm sorry." Su's father and mother were well-respected figures in Norway. Now that he had gotten into such a scandal, they didn't know how many people would be laughing at them. Su's mother embraced Su Yuan with heartache and patted his head. "It's not your fault. You gave your all in the marriage. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Those who cheat and stray during marriage are the ones who should be ashamed." Su's father, who had been silent all along, nodded and agreed with his wife. "That's right, it's actually a good thing to divorce a woman like Xiao Yi. You've come back to Norway. Your mother and I will take good care of you. And if you don't want to take over the company, you don't have to. Anyway, the money your mother and I have earned is enough for you to live comfortably for several lifetimes." Su's mother took Su Yuan's hand, worried he would do something rash, and softly advised, "Son, divorce isn't the end of the world. As our child, you always have the right to make mistakes." Su's mother was a well-known strong woman, and her marriage to Su's father was a powerful alliance. They naturally doted on their only child. Su Yuan's dark eyes turned red. His heart that had been cold for so long finally warmed up. No matter what, his parents were his greatest support. "Mom, Dad, I plan to go back to school first for further studies and take over the company when I'm ready." He had been obsessed with love for the past 7 years. In the future, he would shift his focus to work and spending time with his parents. Meanwhile, in Lin City, Xiao Yi had agreed with Cheng Yang that she would wait until her pregnancy was stable, and then go to Norway to find Su Yuan in 2 months. But recently, she had been obviously distancing herself from Cheng Yang. When Cheng Yang asked her to dinner, Xiao Yi refused, claiming she was busy with work. When Cheng Yang cried and said his wounds hurt, Xiao Yi just called a doctor to come over and check him. When Cheng Yang said he missed her so much that he couldn't eat, Xiao Yi said he would be fine after missing a couple of meals. She even forced Cheng Yang to sign an agreement that she would give Cheng Yang a sum of money after she gave birth. The premise was that Cheng Yang had to agree to never look at the child again and never step foot in Lin City again. Cheng Yang looked at the agreement and broke down. Why? This is our child. You can't just say that I can't see him. Xiao Yi's small face was stern. She touched her stomach, and impatience flashed in her watery eyes. You should be grateful that you are the father of the child. Xiao Yi forced Cheng Yang to sign the agreement. She began to post handwritten letters on Weibo, expressing her regret and begging for her husband's forgiveness. To show her sincerity, she even filmed the entire process of writing the letters and posted it all online. Unfortunately, netizens didn't buy it. Xiao Yi's affair of secretly taking wedding photos with her lover while still married to her husband had long been a hot topic on the internet. The comment section instantly had 999 plus comments, mostly filled with insults. Belated affection is cheaper than grass. Su Yuan, don't turn back. Su's army, will always support you. Down with scumbag men and gigolos. Let's restore a clean marriage. Xiao Yi ignored the comments and religiously wrote a letter every day. Sometimes they were self-reflection letters. Sometimes they were letters reminiscing about Su Yuan. Sometimes they were letters praying that Su Yuan would forgive her. After a month, many netizens were touched by Xiao Yi's persistence and began to change sides. On the other side, Cheng Yang became more and more anxious. Recently, Xiao Yi came to see him less and less, only once a week. Every time, she just had him say a few words to the non-existent child in her stomach, then left in a hurry. Xiao Yi completely treated him as just the biological father of the child. With only 1 month left, Xiao Yi was about to leave for Norway. If she went to Norway, what if she went to the hospital for a checkup one day and found out that there was nothing in her stomach? Having no other options, Cheng Yang picked up his phone and contacted an old acquaintance. In the evening, a black sedan drove into the villa district and stopped in front of Cheng Yang's villa. A young woman got out of the passenger seat, and the black sedan immediately drove out of the villa district. The woman lit a cigarette and swaggered in. She was dressed in a black biker suit with delicate features and an air of rebelliousness and recklessness between her brows. Up close or from afar, she looked like a carefree, good-for-nothing rich kid. When Cheng Yang saw Iyuru, he quickly stood up from the sofa, frowning fiercely. Are you crazy, letting the driver come in? So flashy. Iyuru leaned close to Cheng Yang, blew a puff of smoke in his face, and her pink lips curved slightly. What are you afraid of? Do you think Xiao Yi doesn't know about our relationship? Cheng Yang choked on the smoke, coughed lightly twice, and took 2 steps back. Iyuru sat carelessly on the sofa, casually hooking her leg, and her gaze swept up and down Cheng Yang. Did you call me here because you want to rekindle our old flame? Cheng Yang looked at Iyuru with disgust, wondering how his taste had been so bad before. He cut straight to the chase. Xiao Yi isn't pregnant. What? Iyuru's watery eyes widened. Her smoking action paused, and she coughed sharply twice. The news about Xiao Yi and Cheng Yang was all over the place, so she knew some of the details. She looked at Cheng Yang, her eyebrows furrowed slightly. Are you crazy? You can even lie to her about something like this. Cheng Yang gave her a disgusted look and murmured, I wish I could have gotten her pregnant. Cheng Yang, is it that you can't do it? Iyuru sized him up, her face full of suspicion. Okay, I have something to discuss with you. Cheng Yang straightened his face. He explained that Xiao Yi didn't know she wasn't pregnant, and that she was planning to go to Norway. After hearing this, Iyuru stubbed out her cigarette on the table and squinted her eyes. I think I understand. You mean if Xiao Yi goes to Norway, all the assets under her name will automatically belong to Su Yuan, and then you won't be able to get her money. But what does that have to do with me? Cheng Yang looked at Iyuru, a strange light flashing in his dark eyes. Of course it has to do with you. Whether or not you can turn things around depends on this. Iyuru frowned, staring at him. What do you want to do? Cheng Yang squinted his eyes, sizing Iyuru up. Iyuru was his ex-girlfriend. She was from the Yi family. The old Yi family mansion was located in Feng City, next to Lin City. As the most powerful family in Feng City, its business was much larger than the Xiao families. Unfortunately, when he was dating Iyuru, he didn't know that Iyuru was not born from the main wife. The Yi family had strict rules, not allowing children born from mistresses to interfere in the Yi family's business. So over the years, Iyaru could only get some pocket money from the Yi family and could not touch the family's business at all. Chung Yang stared at Iyaru in the dim living room. He spoke in a cold voice. You go to Norway and find a way to take care of Su Yuan. Iyaru paused her action of lighting a cigarette, looking at Chung Yang in astonishment. The man in front of her had clearly become murderous. What do your issues have to do with me? Chung Yang's handsome face was shrouded in a chilling aura. Iyaru, Xiao Yi is the most likely person to inherit the entire Xiao family's business. When I succeed, you will have helped me, and your benefits will be indispensable. After a pause, Chung Yang narrowed his eyes. In the Yi family, you'll only be able to get pocket money in this lifetime. Outside the Yi family, you won't be content with working a small job, and you can't realize your dream of starting your own business. As long as you start a business, that old woman in the Yi family will try every means to stop you. You take care of Su Yuan and cut off Xiao Yi's idea of going to Norway. When I succeed, I will ensure that you'll never have to worry about food and clothing, and you won't have to worry about the Yi family's attitude. Most importantly, I've already planned it. I will arrange a plan to make Xiao Yi scary. Then, I'll join forces with the doctor to persuade her to do in vitro fertilization, and I will make her pregnant with my and your child. In the dim living room, Chung Yang's words were resounding. Iyaru looked at the moon outside the window, reaching out to grab it. Clearly, she was tempted. Okay, I'll book a ticket for tomorrow. Before leaving, Iyaru pinched Chung Yang's chin and said with a sinister look, If you dare to play me, I'll kill you. At the same time, in the Su family in Norway, Su Yuan finished his online class and was leisurely lying on a wicker chair on the balcony, casually grilling by a small stove. In the past month, he had stayed away from bad relationships and immersed himself in classes. He was glowing, looking much more energetic. Just as Su Yuan was about to peel a baked sweet potato, his phone suddenly rang. In the receiver, Delin's voice was laced with teasing. The deeply in love girl is posting handwritten love letters all over the internet. Have you seen them? Su Yuan frowned, as if he had heard something disgusting, his handsome face full of disgust. I haven't been following the news in Lin City. Handwritten love letters? Couldn't they just break up peacefully? You don't know. The deeply in love girl is writing one love letter every day, and even posting videos of her writing them. She's moved the entire online community now. Delin recounted what Xiao Yi had been doing recently, and then he suddenly changed the topic, saying, I heard that in another month, Xiao Yi is planning to come to Norway to find you. Su Yuan paused in his action of peeling the roasted sweet potato. I won't see her. On the other end of the phone, Delin stirred the honey water in his cup. I know, I'm just afraid that if Xiao Yi comes looking for you, the agreement from 5 years ago will take effect. If you don't get back together with her, she'll lose both her money and her man, and who knows what crazy things she might do. Su Yuan was stunned and immediately understood. Delin's call this time was to remind him to be careful. Delin was truly his good brother. I'll be careful. After hanging up the phone, Su Yuan didn't tell his parents about Xiao Yi's impending arrival. His parents had been worrying a lot about him lately. They were already preparing to announce to the public that he would take over the Su family's business and support his rise to power. In the afternoon, Su's mother returned from the company. She gently knocked on Su Yuan's door. Accompany us out for dinner tomorrow night. Your father, and I will introduce someone to you. Su Yuan looked up from his computer and obediently responded with okay. He had long figured out his parents' behavior lately. The people they had private dinners with were all prominent figures in the area. The next evening, Su Yuan drove his parents out. He didn't notice a black car following closely behind him. The restaurant was located on a cliff by the sea, and the view from the windows was of snow-capped mountains and fjords. Su Yuan had just sat down when he got up to go wash his hands. As he walked down the corridor, he was captivated by the sea view and stopped in his tracks. The vast, boundless sea, accompanied by the slightly cold breeze, he really liked this feeling. Just as Su Yuan was immersed in the beautiful scenery, a black figure suddenly approached. He put his hands on Su Yuan's shoulders and pushed him hard. Su Yuan lost his balance and instinctively tried to grab the railing, but the man reacted quickly and pushed him again. Su Yuan fell heavily, plunging into the icy sea. In the frigid water, Su Yuan tried to shout for help, but the piercing cold prevented him from making a sound. The surging waves almost submerged him, and just as he was about to lose consciousness, a slender hand grabbed him in time. 5 minutes later, Su Yuan was pulled ashore. He weakly opened his eyes and found himself lying in the arms of a beautiful woman. The woman was soaking wet, her delicate, off-white long dress clinging to her body. Her hair was dripping, but it didn't diminish her high beauty in the slightest. The woman looked at Su Yuan and helped him up. Mister. Sue, it's cold. I'll take you to change into some dry clothes. 5 minutes later, Su Yuan had changed into dry clothes and was leaning against a heater to warm up. The warm air gradually pulled his thoughts back, and he stared blankly at the woman in front of him. Do you know me? He hadn't forgotten that the woman had just called him Mr. Su. Lu Wan smiled. She had changed into a Yonglan, languid black long dress, making her look extremely glamorous. I know Mr. Su Guahao. Su Yuan was taken aback for a few seconds and guessed. Could it be that you're the person my parents arranged to have dinner with tonight? Lu Wan smiled and nodded. Su Yuan looked at the woman in astonishment. Someone who was admired by his parents must be wealthy and influential. Over the past month, Su's parents had taken Su Yuan to meet many important people, mostly in their 40s and 50s, and rarely someone close to his own age. Su Yuan looked at Lu Wan and said softly, "Please don't tell my parents about what just happened. I don't want them to worry." Okay. The two quickly returned to the restaurant. Lu Wan was very gentlemanly. She let Su Yuan go in first, and then she walked in slowly 2 minutes later. Su's mother looked at Su Yuan, who had changed his clothes, and asked in confusion, "Why did you change your clothes?" "I accidentally fell in the bathroom and got my clothes dirty." Su Yuan lowered his head. Lu Wan's gaze swept across his face, and she subtly curved her lips. The meal was very pleasant. Su Yuan learned more about the woman before him. It turned out that the Lu family was mainly involved in the oil industry, and in Norway, the Lu family was doing better than the Su family. This meal was for Su's father to hope that Lu Wan would help his son more in the future. Seeing his parents preparing to leave, Su Yuan made up an excuse saying he wanted to walk around and stayed behind. Mr. Su wants to check the surveillance footage? Lu Wan's watery eyes landed on the man's face. Su Yuan was surprised that the woman before him had seen through his intentions. Just now with his parents around, he didn't want them to know about many things. I want to know who wanted to harm me. Judging from the force of the push, it must have been a man. Lu Wan got up and said considerately, "I'll take you to see the owner." A long while later, in the surveillance room, the restaurant staff exported the surveillance footage from that time and said helplessly, "That man covered the camera before he acted." Mr. Su, the surveillance camera did not capture the scene of you being pushed into the water. After a pause, the staff member cautiously said, "That man was probably instructed to do it. There is surveillance footage at the entrance of our restaurant showing that he got out of a woman's car." Su Yuan frowned. "Did your restaurant surveillance cameras capture the faces of this man and woman?" For staff members began to take turns checking the surveillance footage. Half an hour later, all four shook their heads. Sorry, both of them were wearing masks and hats. The surveillance didn't capture their faces. Su Yuan's small face turned serious. "Send me all the surveillance footage where this woman appears. If he was going to catch someone, he would catch the mastermind." On the way home, Su Yuan sent the surveillance footage to Delin. "Help me investigate this person. What happened?" Delin vaguely sensed something was wrong and asked worriedly. Su Yuan recounted what happened that night, and he frowned. "If Lu Wan hadn't shown up in time, I almost would have been killed by that woman." Delin's expression became serious. "Leave it to me. I will find out who this person is for you." At the same time, in the living room of the villa, Chung Yang had called Xiao Yi more than a dozen times, but she didn't answer. He threw his phone onto the sofa with a cold face. Suddenly, his phone rang. Chung Yang eagerly picked up the phone, but when he saw the caller ID was Yiru, he looked disappointed. "What did you say? Su Yuan was saved? Who was that woman?" Listening to Yiru describing what happened that night, Chung Yang's face turned gloomy and terrifying. His dark eyes filled with jealousy. How could Su Yuan be so lucky? On the other end of the phone, Yiru sat in the car, her sinister, watery eyes full of viciousness. "He escaped this time. He will probably be very cautious recently. It will be difficult for me to take action." Chung Yang's small face was cold and calm as he said in a low voice, "Don't make any rash moves for now. Wait for the right opportunity. I will take care of him. Don't worry. Just stay home obediently and wait for me to come back." Seeing that Yiru was about to start talking sweet nothings again, Chung Yang hung up the phone in disgust. Another week passed, and Su Yuan began to take over the work of the Su family. Su's parents worried that Su Yuan wouldn't be able to handle it all at once, so they deliberately controlled the intensity of his work. However, Su Yuan, who hadn't worked for a long time, still felt some anxiety after entering the workplace. Fortunately, Lu Wan was there, and she would usually give him guidance. "Don't be anxious. Treat talking to clients like a game. If you succeed, celebrate. If you don't, treat it like making a friend." When Su Yuan was so busy with work that he felt almost suffocated, Lu Wan would give him advice. "How's your alcohol tolerance?" "When I feel stressed, I'll have a little drink to please myself. Although we're like working animals, we still have to be happy working animals, entertaining ourselves." Her witty and humorous words made Su Yuan laugh. Luan was definitely not a working animal. She was a favored daughter of heaven. With Luan to dispel his boredom, Su Yuan had a relatively smooth week. However, Iru had long been unable to restrain herself. Su Yuan's routine of going from home to work and back made it impossible for her to make any moves. This day, after Su Yuan finished a meeting, he suddenly received a call from Delin. Su Yuan, I found out. Delin's voice in the receiver was grave. Su Yuan walked back to his office and closed the door. Who is she? Iru, Cheng Yiyang's ex-girlfriend. Delin talked about some information about Iru. Iru was from the Yi family of Fengcheng. The Yi family was slightly stronger than the Xiao family. Unfortunately, Iru was not born to the main wife. Iru's mother, Chen Yin, was too eager for quick success and was discovered by Old Master Yi early on for her ambition. He had been secretly monitoring Iru's every move and prevented her from touching anyone or anything related to the Yi family's business. Cheng Yiyang also learned about this and chose to break up with Iru. Later, Cheng Yiyang went abroad and found another girlfriend, but she didn't want a long-term relationship with him. He was at his wit's end, so he returned to the country and reconnected with Xiao Yi. Su Yuan frowned, something occurring to him. Did she join forces with Cheng Yiyang? On the other end of the phone, Delin was silent for a few seconds before nodding. That's what I'm guessing too. Iru was clearly trying to kill you last time. I suspect that she probably wanted you dead to prevent Xiao Yi from going to Norway. After a pause, Delin said unhappily, I don't know what kind of bewitching potion Cheng Yiyang gave her. Su Yuan sat back in his office chair. He pondered for a moment and said, if that's the case, then let's give them what they want. Delin frowned. Do you want to fake your own death? Yes. Su Yuan nodded, calmly analyzing. Once I fake my death, Xiao Yi will come to pay her respects. I can then deprive her of her property. Who told her to pretend to be so sentimental? After my fake death, Cheng Yiyang will no longer let Iru come looking for trouble with me. It's also a hassle to be constantly stalked by her like a leech. Most importantly, as long as Xiao Yi comes to Norway to pay her respects, I can make sure that Cheng Yiyang, who is trying to get her money, doesn't get anything. It was a plan with 3 benefits in one. However, to fake his death, he needed a helper. After careful consideration, Su Yuan went to ask Lu Wan for help. So, you mean you want me to recommend a way that would allow the other party to quickly kill you, but not actually kill you? A strange color flickered across Lu Wan's delicate face. Su Yuan nodded, not hiding anything from Lu Wan, and recounted the events of the past 2 months. As he spoke of the past, he showed no extra emotions, as if he were talking about someone else's affairs. I want to completely sever ties with these people and matters, but I don't want to let them off so easily. Faking my death is the most beneficial method for me. Lu Wan looked at the man in front of her, her watery eyes showing a trace of heartache. She pondered for a few seconds, then analyzed the situation for Su Yuan seriously. Logically, jumping into the sea is the easiest way to fake death, but since you just had that incident, you probably won't go near the sea anytime soon. Falling off a cliff is too dangerous. I suggest a car accident death. A car accident? Su Yuan frowned. He thought about it for a while, then agreed with Lu Wan's words. His recent activities had been limited to a predictable pattern, making him extra cautious. It would be difficult for Iru to find an opportunity to attack him. Tampering with his car, which he used regularly, would be the simplest method. However, how do we get her to tamper with my car? Lu Wan's lips curled into a smile. Leave it to me. Thank you. Su Yuan felt grateful. The next day at noon, Iru, still unable to find a chance to act against Su Yuan, drove back to her apartment building and went to a restaurant for lunch. As she just ordered, 2 foreign men wearing black hats walked into the restaurant. The 2 men looked similar like brothers. They were both tall and muscular, with large tattoos on their wrists and necks. From afar and up close, they didn't seem like good people. They sat at the table next to Iru's, casually throwing a backpack containing wrenches onto a nearby chair, and talked quietly in English. This job will keep us fed for half a year. The older man, nearly 40, old William, spoke. He opened a bottle of beer and gulped it down. Sitting opposite him, the younger man, nearly 28, young William, rolled up his sleeves and clinked beer bottles with old William, drinking with a bold posture. We've tampered with the car, and it's raining today. That kid will surely have an accident when he drives. After a pause, he shook his head. You really shouldn't find a stepmother for children. These stepmothers seem to be good to the children, but that's only for 2 years. After 2 years, when the children come of age and get their driver's license, the stepmother can't wait to take their lives. Iru, hearing this, turned her watery eyes slightly, an idea forming in her mind. She was itching to communicate with them, but couldn't find an opportunity. Old William narrowed his eyes, adding another dose of temptation. If there weren't these wicked people, where would we make money? Young William nodded, sneering. The more of these people there are, the better. We can retire after a few more jobs. At this moment, Iyaru couldn't sit still anymore. She got up and sat at their table, smiling and trying to be friendly. Brothers, this meal is on me. I have something I want to ask. Old William was wary, his tone unfriendly. Do we know each other? Iyaru shook her head, smiling ingratiatingly. We don't, but I need your help. As the saying goes, meeting is fate. It's just as easy to do two jobs as one. Could you please help me out with this? After a pause, the smile on Iyaru's face deepened. Whatever he paid you for the last job, I'll pay double. Old William and young William exchanged glances. Old William frowned, and after a few seconds, gritted his teeth. Okay, deal. Money is money, no matter who it comes from. Iyaru sighed in relief. She picked up a beer and clinked it with the men. They chatted for half an hour. Iyaru showed them Su Yuan's photo and finally left satisfied. As soon as Iyaru left, Old William went out of the restaurant and got into his car. She called Lu Wan and reported. Director Lu? Iyaru took the bait. Lu Wan sat at her desk, twirling a pen in her hand. What did she say? Old William relayed Iyaru's plan in detail. Iyaru wants us to wait for the next rainy day. When Mr. Su drives his car into the company parking lot, we will tamper with his car. After a pause, Old William's voice turned somber. Iyaru repeatedly told us to do the worst we can, making sure that Mr. Su is eliminated in one go. If successful, she'll give us an additional 500,000. Lu Wan paused, her pen twirling, a chilling expression on her delicate face. Oh, she's quite generous. Old William sensed the coldness in Lu Wan's voice and was surprised for a few seconds. Director Lu usually kept her emotions hidden, but this time she had not hidden her emotions. What should I do when the time comes? Lu Wan pondered for a moment and instructed, just tamper with it slightly, I'll handle the rest. She would arrange for a double to take Su Yuan's place while driving and create a car accident death scenario. Understood, Director Lu. 5 days later, a heavy rain fell in Norway. In the morning, Su Yuan drove his car into the company's underground parking lot, as usual. After parking his car, he strolled towards the elevator. Not far away, inside a car, Iyaru stared at Su Yuan's back and dialed Old William's number. After the morning rush hour is over, you can make your move. Okay, Mr. Shwe. Taking advantage of the sparse lunchtime crowd, Old William and Little William, dressed in black clothes, black masks, and black hats, pried open the hood of Su Yuan's car, fiddled around for a while, and then left furtively. After Old William drove away from the parking lot, he sent a message to Iyaru. I've taken care of it. Iyaru nodded. The balance has been transferred. If you take out Su Yuan in one go, I'll add another 500,000 to your account. Thank you, Miss C. In the afternoon, after work, many cars gradually left the parking lot. Iyaru hid in her car, waiting until 7:30 p.m. when Su Yuan slowly walked towards the parking lot. He got into his car, started the engine directly, and sped off towards home. Iyaru quickly followed behind. Inside the driver's seat, Su Yuan narrowed his eyes, looking at the rearview mirror. He drove straight for a while. On a downhill road with very little traffic, Su Yuan quickly maneuvered the steering wheel. The car skidded, spun around 3 times on the spot, and without slowing down, crashed straight into a tree. Almost instantaneously, flames erupted from the front of the car. Iyaru smiled with satisfaction. She took out her phone and snapped a photo, then drove away as if nothing had happened. Half an hour later, Su's parents rushed to the hospital in a state of collapse and issued an obituary. Obituary. It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of our son, Su Yuan, who died on December 20th, 2024, at 8:07 p.m. after succumbing to injuries sustained in a car accident. He was 27 years old. He was a loving, kind, and life-loving individual. His laughter and love will forever remain in our hearts. May our son rest in peace in heaven. If there is a next life, may we be father and son again. The obituary caused quite a stir upon its release. At a villa in Lin City, Chungyang, looking at the screenshot of the obituary sent by Iyaru, paced back and forth excitedly in the living room. He laughed almost maniacally, muttering, "Good, that obstacle is finally gone. Su Yuan, don't blame me. Blame yourself for blocking my path to riches." In Xiao Yi's office, Xiao Yi was in a late-night meeting when she received the news. Her phone suddenly vibrated, and Xiao Yi picked it up to take a look. When she saw the obituary about Su Yuan's death in a car accident sent by her friend, her eyes turned red, and her petite body trembled violently. As if something had been ripped away from her, she shouted almost hysterically, "Impossible, impossible! How could her Su Yuan be dead?" Her assistant, seeing Xiao Yi lose her composure in front of the senior executives for the first time, realized something was wrong. He glanced at Xiao Yi's screen. Seeing Su Yuan's obituary, he was stunned for a few seconds and quickly asked the senior executives to leave first. "President Xiao, please accept my condolences." Xiao Yi's eyes were bloodshot. She staggered to her feet, wanting to rush out. Suddenly, everything went dark, and she fell straight down. The assistant quickly supported Xiao Yi. "President Xiao, someone, get President Xiao to the hospital." 2 hours later, Xiao Yi opened her eyes again. The first thing she did was take out her phone and look at the obituary again. Her lips trembled, and she broke down crying. "Su Yuan, I'm sorry. How could you leave me alone? How am I supposed to live without you?" Xiao Yi talked to herself. She looked at the assistant beside her, her eyes red, and said, "Book me the fastest flight to Norway. I want to see him one last time." As soon as she finished speaking, Chung Yang, who had rushed in, stood stunned at the door of the ward. He looked at the nearly crazed and broken Xiao Yi, his eyes filled with hidden emotions. When he had resolutely decided to leave Xiao Yi back then, he hadn't seen her so distraught. What was so good about Su Yuan? Chung Yang walked up to Xiao Yi. He grabbed her hand and frantically expressed his grievances. "You're going to Norway? Su Yuan is already dead. What's the point of you going? If you go now, you'll come back penniless." Xiao Yi suddenly raised her head and angrily shook off Chung Yang's hand. She stood up and walked towards Chung Yang step by step with a somber face. Chung Yang was frightened by her sinister gaze. He retreated until he hit the wall. Then, Xiao Yi clenched her small fist and punched him hard. "If it weren't for you stopping me back then, not letting me go to Su Yuan, he and I would have reconciled long ago. How could he have had a car accident? You indirectly killed Su Yuan." "Chung Yang, I'm not in a good emotional state right now. Once I've given birth to the child safely, I will torture you to death." The woman's voice was fierce. Chung Yang trembled in fear, not daring to utter a word. When Xiao Yi let go of him, Chung Yang watched the woman's resolute back as she left. He fell to the ground, his dark eyes filled with panic and hatred. "It's gone, everything is gone." He calculated everything, but he hadn't anticipated that Xiao Yi would know he would be penniless if he went abroad, yet still choose to go. No, once Xiao Yi arrives in Norway, the agreement will take effect. What use would he have for her then? He needed to get back together with Yarou. Although Yarou was an illegitimate child, she was still better than Xiao Yi, who was going to leave with nothing. Chung Yang acted immediately, picking up his phone to call Yarou, speaking gently. "When are you coming back? I'll cook for you myself." The following afternoon was Su Yuan's funeral. The sky was gloomy, with a light rain falling. Su's parents held Su Yuan's portrait as they walked inside. Many people had come to pay their respects. Xiao Yi rushed over. She wasn't wearing makeup, her face was gaunt, and she looked like she had aged over a decade overnight. Entering the funeral hall, Xiao Yi staggered towards the altar, kneeling directly before Su Yuan's memorial, kowtowing 3 times in a row. "I'm sorry, my husband. I'm late," she said, slapping herself hard several times, choking back sobs. "I shouldn't have indulged Chung Yang. I should have come to Norway to find you sooner. Does it hurt? You must have cried in pain when you got hit by the car. If only I had been by your side, I could have saved you. Husband, please wake up, won't you? Wake up and look at me." The people around who had come to pay their respects were stunned by the scene. Most of them knew about the past between Xiao Yi and Su Yuan. Rumor had it that Xiao Yi didn't love her husband, but instead loved the wild man outside. But the scene before them now made the rumors seem false. Su's parents stood coldly to the side, exchanging a glance but saying nothing. Xiao Yi didn't notice that among the people who came to mourn, there was a familiar figure. The man was wearing black casual clothing and a black mask, staring coldly at Xiao Yi. Beside him, Lu Wan was holding a black umbrella over his head. Seeing that Su Yuan was constantly staring at Xiao Yi, her watery eyes flickered. "Do you feel sorry for her?" Su Yuan frowned, meeting Lu Wan's gaze, his voice cold and clear. "I don't feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for myself." When he received the first provocative voice message from Chung Yang, he didn't sleep a wink that night, while Xiao Yi slept soundly with Chung Yang. On their 5th anniversary, the blue fireworks that were set off were leftovers that another man didn't want, but which Xiao Yi had given to him. When he had a car accident and was hospitalized, Xiao Yi brought another man to live in their home and sleep in their wedding bed. Wasn't he the one who should feel the most sorry for himself? Lu Wan withdrew her gaze, seeing his distant look, and reminded him. "Still watching? How about we go for a walk, Mr. Su Xinxing?" Su Yuan's lips curved into a smile. Okay. Just yesterday, he had obtained his new ID. He was now called Su Xinxing, embracing new life. Another week passed, and Su's parents announced to the public that the company would be taken over by their nephew, Su Xinxing. This news caused a sensation once again throughout the wealthy circles. In Lin City, Xiaoyi had been depressed ever since she returned from Norway. She was drowning her sorrows in alcohol all day long, weeping and lamenting to Su Yuan's portrait. Su Yuan, my Su Yuan, you must be tricking me. You're not dead, right? Call me back. I was wrong. I won't betray you. I shouldn't have cheated. During Xiao Yi's days of breakdown, Lawyer Li took the agreement she had signed 5 years ago and processed the transfer of assets. Since Su Yuan no longer existed in the world, these assets ultimately belonged to Su's parents. Su's mother didn't indulge Xiao Yi. When she called Lawyer Li, she instructed all of the houses, cars, and collections under Xiao Yi's name. Sell them all online for cash. Don't leave her anything. She wanted to let Xiao Yi know that those who were devoted had thriving lives, while those who cheated suffered daily decline. Yes, madam. A week later, Lawyer Li arrived at Xiao Yi's villa. He looked at the haggard woman before him, a hint of surprise flashing in his eyes. In just a second, his expression returned to normal. Ms. Xiao, Madam Su has instructed me to sell the villa. The new owners have already signed a contract to take over today, so please. Before Lawyer Li could finish speaking, Xiao Yi suddenly looked up, a desolate smile on her face. Asking me to move out, is that it? Su Yuan is dead. This villa no longer has anything that belongs to him. There's no point in me staying here. Xiao Yi staggered towards the exit, and her assistant followed anxiously behind. Recently, she had been missing Su Yuan too much, sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a day. When the longing was at its deepest, she had even tried to cut her wrists. So, before Xiao Yi even left the garden, she stumbled and fainted again. The assistant sent Xiao Yi to the hospital. He couldn't bear to watch anymore and dialed a phone number. 2 hours later, a large group of people walked into the hospital. Leading the way was old Madame Xiao. She walked into the ward and looked at the haggard, distressed Xiao Yi on the bed. She was livid. The nurse was inserting a needle into the vein on the back of Xiao Yi's hand. She was about to start the foredrip, but Xiao Yi directly pulled out the needle. The nurse sighed. She inserted the needle again, but Xiao Yi pulled it out again. This time the needle pierced a blood vessel, drawing a bright streak of blood. Old Mrs. Xiao couldn't bear to watch and suddenly picked up her cane, striking Xiao Yi hard. Xiao Yi, kneel down. Xiao Yi saw old Mrs. Xiao as if she had seen a life-saving straw. But the words she spoke had long lost their will to live. Grandma, I want to go down and find Su Yuan. Please grant my wish. I want to be buried with him. Can you help me talk to his parents? Old Mrs. Zhao's face was livid, her kind old face cold and terrifying. She directly grabbed Xiao Yi and dragged her to the bathroom mirror, splashing a handful of cold water on her face. Look at what you've become. Among all the granddaughters of the Xiao family, you are the worst. Xiao Yi stiffly raised her head, looking at herself in the mirror. The woman in the mirror had hollow cheeks, dull eyes, and was like a walking corpse, radiating an overall gloomy aura. During the time she had lost Su Yuan, she had indeed lived a life that was neither human nor ghost. Clearly 5 years ago, she and Su Yuan had agreed to stay together until old age. But from what point did she change? Was it that she was tired of the monotonous life and wanted to seek some excitement? Was it that seeing her best friends with men on their arms, frequently changing partners, that made her restless? Was it that she thought she was hiding it well, two-timing, becoming more and more excessive? Thinking of these things, Xiao Yi slapped herself again. It was all her fault. She destroyed their beautiful married life. If she hadn't disappointed Su Yuan and sent him back to Norway, how could he have died in a car accident in Norway? Old Mrs. Xiao looked at Xiao Yi's regretful face and sighed deeply. Xiao Yi was a pride of heaven in everyone's eyes, and was also her most prized granddaughter. Now, however, she wanted to commit suicide because of love. Old Mrs. Zhao's face was stern, and she instructed her assistant to keep an eye on her while she washed up and changed clothes. Half an hour later, Xiao Yi finally regained her former appearance, sitting in front of old Mrs. Xiao looking refreshed. Grandma. A stack of documents was placed in front of old Mrs. Xiao. She first threw the wedding photos of Xiao Yi and Cheng Yiyang in front of her. She coughed lightly, her old voice carrying its own authority. Xiao Yi, you were the first to cheat. I have no face to go to Xiao Yuan's parents. Your assets and funds are now all theirs. Consider it compensation for your previous actions. After a pause, old Mrs. Xiao flipped through the recent news articles about Xiao Yi, and with a flick of her hand, threw them all at Xiao Yi's face. Take a good look. What is the outside world's evaluation of you now? Xiao Yi's delicate brows furrowed slightly, and she glanced at the news, all of which was negative. Deeply devoted woman cheats on her first love, causing the death of her innocent ex-husband. Shocking. The pure love goddess is actually toying with her husband's feelings. Now full of regret. Cherish life. Stay away from giant. When the relationship between Xiao Yi and Su Yuan started, there were many of their CP fans online. Many netizens had watched them from marriage to divorce, and those who knew the inside story all felt sorry for Su Yuan. Recently, some netizens posted about Su Yuan's death in a car accident in Norway. The netizens then turned their anger toward Xiao Yi, criticizing her for toying with emotions and pretending to be a pure love goddess. Because the netizens' attitude was too extreme, it seriously affected the recent stock of the Xiao group. Old Mrs. Xiao looked at Xiao Yi in front of her. She took a deep breath and said, "I will issue a public announcement, not allowing you to interfere with the Xiao family's assets within 5 years. This is a punishment for your recent improper behavior. The Xiao family's ancestral teachings are that one must be loyal and devoted to relationships and marriage. Only when the family is in harmony can everything prosper." Xiao Yi lowered her eyes gloomily. Grandma is punishing her by not allowing her to interfere with the Xiao family's assets within 5 years. There are many grandchildren and granddaughters in the family. Who knows how many siblings will surpass and crush her during these 5 years. She will probably lose the qualification to be the heir forever. However, she has already lost Su Yuan. What use is this Xiao family's wealth? Understood, Grandma. Old Mrs. Xiao shook her head in disappointment and left, leaning on her cane. In the evening, Cheng Yang learned that Xiao Yi had been ordered by Old Mrs. Xiao to be banned from interfering with the Xiao family's assets for 5 years. He sat alone in the living room, his mind in a complete mess. Last time, he called Iyuru, saying he would personally cook a meal to reward her. Iyuru said she would return home immediately to see him, but not long after, Iyuru called him again. She said that Old Master Yi asked her to return to the old mansion. After that call, he could no longer reach Iyuru. Now that Xiao Yi is banned from touching the Xiao family's assets, he must speed up reconciling with Iyuru. So, Cheng Yang dialed Iyuru's number again. The number you have dialed is currently unavailable message still echoed in the receiver. Cheng Yang hesitated for a moment and called Iyuru's best friend, asking about Iyuru's whereabouts. The other party was silent for a few seconds, then said, "Don't you know? Iyuru died in a car accident." She died. Cheng Yang's pupils widened in disbelief. He didn't know that Iyuru died on the day of Su Yuan's funeral. On the day Su Yuan faked his death in a car accident, he proactively contacted Grandpa Yi after returning home. He sent the surveillance video recordings of Iyuru trying to harm him multiple times. Grandpa Yi was silent for a few seconds. After apologizing for his granddaughter, he asked Su Yuan how he wanted to resolve it. Su Yuan didn't want any compensation. He only wanted Grandpa Yi to give him justice and conceal the fact that he was still alive. That night, Iyuru was called back to the country. The next day, Iyuru rushed to the Yi family's old mansion, which was the day of Su Yuan's funeral. When Grandpa Yi saw her, he immediately used family law. He whipped Iyuru over 100 times, forcing her to turn herself in the next day. However, Iyuru didn't think she was wrong. She blamed all her mistakes on her birth. She believed her only mistake was having a birth mother who was a mistress. In the middle of the night, Iyuru climbed over the wall and escaped from the Yi family's old mansion. Grandpa Yi ordered his bodyguards to chase her. That night, it happened to be pouring rain, and Iyuru's car suddenly skidded, causing a car accident that killed her on the spot. In the empty living room, Cheng Yang's handsome face was pale. After much deliberation, he decided to stick with Xiao Yi for now. After all, his affair with Xiao Yi was a huge scandal, known by everyone. Apart from Iyuru, probably no other wealthy heiress would want to marry him. Now that Iyuru was dead, and Xiao Yi was still from the Xiao family, a skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. Besides, as long as he clung to Xiao Yi and endured humiliation for 5 years, Xiao Yi would still be able to interfere with the Xiao family's business again. That night, Cheng Yang bribed Xiao Yi's attending physician in advance. He asked the doctor to instruct the nurse to add an extra pill that would cause Xiao Yi to bleed from her lower body when administering the medication. The next morning, after taking the medicine, Xiao Yi was in so much pain that her face turned pale, and she was drenched in cold sweat. She suddenly felt a warmth between her legs. Realizing something was wrong, she hurriedly pressed the emergency button on the headboard. "Doctor, doctor, save my child!" The doctor rushed over and, after an examination, sent her to the operating room. At noon, when Xiao Yi woke up, she learned that her child was gone. Her eyes turned red, and she suddenly broke down crying. Gone? Su Yuan doesn't want me anymore, and the child doesn't want me either. Cheng Yang stood beside her and comforted her. Relax, you'll have more later. Xiao Yi picked up a pillow and threw it at Cheng Yang, scolding coldly. Get out of here. I don't want to see you. 3 days later, Xiao Yi was discharged from the hospital. On Cheng Yang's recommendation, she buried her child in the cemetery. Xiao Yi looked at the grave, her eyes red. Baby, it's your mother's fault for not being able to protect you. Cheng Yang hugged Xiao Yi, comforting her softly. We will have children. Xiao Yi pushed him away coldly, her voice slightly icy. Don't touch me, you're dirty. Cheng Yang was stunned, his face darkening as he retracted his hand in midair. Not far away, Delin was sitting in his car. Looking at the two people in the cemetery, he dialed Su Yuan's phone. Su Yuan, I have printed out Xiao Yi's medical report as you requested. Someone will give it to Xiao Yi later. I don't know if Xiao Yi will regret it after learning the truth. Suddenly, a staff member walked up to Cheng Yang and said in a low voice, Mr. Cheng, there is some more information here that needs to be registered. Cheng Yang nodded and followed him. As soon as he left, a female staff member walked up to Xiao Yi. She held 3 photocopies. Not far away, Cheng Yang saw someone approaching Xiao Yi with documents. Suddenly, he became vigilant and walked back. At this moment, Xiao Yi was already looking at her body checkup report with suspicion. Name, Xiao Yi. Gender, female. Diagnosis, female infertility. Xiao Yi's pupil shrank, and the hand holding the report tightened suddenly. Her face turned deathly white, and she took out the second photocopy with a trembling hand, a pregnancy test report. Name, Xiao Yi. Urine pregnancy test. Result, negative. The third copy was a screenshot of Cheng Yang's remittance to the doctor who did the tests. Xiao Yi finished reading with a livid face. She stared coldly at Cheng Yang beside her, emanating a terrifying chill, as if she wanted to devour Cheng Yang alive. I'm not pregnant at all? You lied to me? Cheng Yang's face turned pale. He tried to justify himself in a low voice. This is a slander. Someone wants to harm me. You were pregnant at first. After a pause, he grabbed Xiao Yi's arm, pleading, Don't believe these reports. Someone must want to harm me. Yes, someone wants to harm me. Xiao Yi shook off his hand with a stern face and took out her phone to call Dr. He. Dr. He was the doctor who had previously done the test for her and Su Yuan. On the other end of the phone, Dr. He hesitated for a few seconds after listening to Xiao Yi's words. President Xiao, when the test results came out, Mr. Su asked me to help you conceal the fact that you were infertile. At the time, Mr. Su said that this matter concerned your dignity and career. If it were revealed that you were infertile, it might affect your taking over the Xiao family's business. So he had me change the test results to show that he had a problem. The doctor paused, then added, Sir really loves you. Dr. He's words entered Xiao Yi's ears. Not a single syllable missed. They were like tiny needles, piercing her heart, causing her such pain that she struggled to breathe. Remembering Delin's unusual words, Xiao Yi suddenly broke down laughing. So, her Su Yuan had loved her so much. To protect her self-esteem and future, to avoid making her suffer, he even shouldered the burden of having a physical problem, being infertile. She deserved to die. She had actually pushed away a man who loved her deeply. Clutching the medical report, Xiao Yi suddenly broke down and cried uncontrollably. Seeing her gloomy and deranged appearance, Cheng Yang got up, wanted to take the opportunity to slip away. But he hadn't taken a few steps when Xiao Yi grabbed him. She ordered the bodyguards behind her to hold Cheng Yang to the ground. Xiao Yi raised her foot and stomped hard on Cheng Yang, her voice low and hoarse, as terrifying as a demon from hell. Cheng Yang, was it fun to deceive me? If it weren't for you seducing me, if it weren't for you stopping me from going to Norway to find Su Yuan, how could he have died? Tell me, should I personally end you, to send you down to apologize to Su Yuan? With each word Xiao Yi spoke, she stomped on Cheng Yang's head. After several stomps, feeling it wasn't enough to vent her anger, she picked up a worker's iron shovel and slammed it hard on Cheng Yang's head. When Cheng Yang looked up again, there was a large hole in his forehead, blood streaming down his face, a terrifying sight. He said resentfully and unwillingly, If it weren't for your infertility, would I have resorted to fabrication? What's so good about Su Yuan? If he wanted to go to Norway, he could just go. Why make such a big fuss after he left? Who doesn't know he was just trying to harm me? He deserved to die. If you ask me, Iro acted too late. Realizing he had accidentally let something slip, Cheng Yang quickly stopped talking. Xiao Yi's eyes were dark. She stared at Cheng Yang, enunciating each word. You had Iro kill Su Yuan. Chung Yang hurriedly shook his head, still trying to argue. I didn't. Bang! Before he could finish his last word, Xiao Yi raised the iron shovel and slammed it hard into his mouth. This blow completely disfigured Chung Yang's face. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Xiao Yi narrowed her eyes, as if gone mad, and raised the iron shovel, repeatedly slamming it on Chung Yang's head, body, and face. A few minutes later, Chung Yang could no longer hold on and fell to the ground. But Xiao Yi's actions did not stop. The people who had come to pay their respects to the deceased watched Xiao Yi's mad appearance, but no one dared to step forward. It wasn't until the police and ambulance arrived that Xiao Yi stopped hitting Chung Yang. When Chung Yang was taken away in the ambulance, he was already a bloody mess. 3 days later, Su Yuan, using the identity of Su Xinxing, attended a Su family event. This time, he had a new hairstyle, wore gold-rimmed glasses, and wore a black mask in public. He only revealed a pair of detached eyes, making it impossible to see his appearance. Back in his office, Su Yuan had barely sat down when he received a call from Berlin. The other party's tone was light, as if there was good news. The wicked get their just desserts. Chung Yang was beaten by Xiao Yi and damaged a sciatic nerve. Now he's paralyzed, in a wheelchair, and his face is ruined. Su Yuan's mouse movement paused, his watery eyes lowered slightly. Xiao Yi, will she go to prison? Delin shook his head, sighing regretfully. Old Madame Xiao wouldn't allow any member of the Xiao family to have a criminal record. She secretly found lawyers and negotiated with Cheng's father and mother, giving them $3 million to settle things. After a pause, Delin added, however, Xiao Yi was forced by old Madame Xiao to be sent abroad the day before yesterday and is not allowed to return to the country for 5 years. It is said that after Xiao Yi arrived overseas, she seemed to have suffered some great shock. She doesn't eat or drink, and every day when she wakes up, she only does one thing, which is to draw your portrait. Su Yuan lowered his eyes, his expression cold and detached. It's finally over. On the other end of the phone, Delin was silent for a few seconds, not speaking. He knew better than anyone else how determined Su Yuan had to be these past 2 or 3 months to be able to break free from a 7-year relationship and calmly deal with the people and matters involved in this torturous bond. The two chatted for a long time before hanging up, and Luan knocked on the door and came in. She placed a box of pineapple cakes, which were super popular and hard to buy in Norway, on Su Yuan's desk. Just bought them, try some. Su Yuan looked at Lu Wan, remembering how Xiao Yi had first pursued him, diligently catering to his likes, buying him his favorite pineapple cakes. Su Yuan raised his head, looking at the gentle woman in front of him, his thick eyebrows slightly furrowed. Lu Wan, I've just ended a 7-year relationship, and now I'm physically and mentally exhausted. Now I need a 2-month break before considering a relationship with you. If I were to become ambiguous with you now, it wouldn't be fair to you. The man's voice was deep and resonant, particularly clear in the quiet office. Lu Wan's pink lips curved into a smile. She met Su Yuan's gaze. There's no rush. I have plenty of time. Having finally met a man she liked, she could wait and was willing to wait. Su Yuan stared at her blankly, a strange look surfacing in his dark eyes. After a while, he picked up the pineapple cake on the table and took a small bite. 2 years later, at a church in Norway, a solemn wedding was taking place. Warm sunlight fell on the bride's white wedding dress and the groom's black suit, bathing them both in a golden glow. Su Yuan's eyes were full of tenderness as he looked at the delicate and beautiful woman before him. Lu Wan was holding the microphone, professing her love. Su Yuan, no, husband. You might not believe it, but 3 years ago, I was a staunch non-believer in marriage. But that day when Su's parents came to the company to find me, wanting to invite me out for a meal, when I saw the photo of her and you on Su's mother's phone wallpaper, my heart felt like it was being scratched by something. At that time, I only had one thought in my mind. It's you. If it's you, marriage wouldn't be so bad. Do you know? Husband, the night you agreed to go out with me, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep the whole night. I secretly posted on my WeChat moments, having something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. When you proposed to me, the moment you held up the ring, I thanked God, thanking him for giving me such a beautiful marriage. Su Yuan withdrew his gaze and pursed his lips. 10 years later, Xiao Yi came to Norway on business. After checking into her hotel, she went downstairs to eat. Not far away, she saw a person she was extremely familiar with. Su Yuan and Lu Wan, along with their 8-year-old son, were eating together. The little boy looked 7 parts like Su Yuan and was incredibly handsome when he smiled. But at this moment, he had his arms crossed, pouting with indignation. Mommy, why did Daddy say he wanted to see the sea this morning? and you immediately put down your work to come with him? The day before yesterday, when I said I wanted to see the sea, you told me we'd go during summer vacation. Mommy, you're so biased. Su Yuan's thin lips curved slightly, about to coax his jealous son, but Luan stopped him with a hand. She ruffled her son's head, smiling playfully. Baby, it's not biased, it's that mommy loves your daddy. When he tells me he wants to see the sea, if I don't immediately go with him, I feel bad. Her beloved husband, she would definitely spoil him. Xiao Yi watched Su Yuan in his happiness and walked towards the exit. As soon as she left the restaurant, tears streamed down Xiao Yi's face. This time, she did not go up to disturb Su Yuan. Su Yuan, knowing you are alive, I am very happy. I'm sorry, Su Yuan. If there's a next life, give me another chance, and let me love you. The end.